Hey guys, tonight we dive into the rich history and sensory magic of Olmec stonework. Because who doesn't love a good ancient secrets reveal? Rain is about to stop being just a wet bother and start guiding some epic sculptures. Let's be real here. I'm pretty sure none of us would have lasted 3 minutes as a sculptor in those conditions. Mudslides, mosquitoes, and all. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Feel free to drop in your city and local time. Maybe somewhere sunny right now. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Gently, rain begins a prelude to ancient artistry. Those raindrops weren't just cooling off the jungle heat. They were whispering secrets to the sculptors. Experts think rain sounds carried messages, each tap a hint of wisdom or warning. That drizzle, not just weather, it was guidance. Imagine walking along the forest floor. Your path is lit not by street lamps, but by gaps in the dense canopy above. The first drops arrive softly, almost like a sigh, easing you closer to the ancient sculptor's world. Rain's rhythm, dripping leaves, taps on stone. It was an orchestra nature conducted for the Olmecs, the ancient civilization known for colossal stone heads, those massive faces still guarding their mysteries. Did the pitter-patter on those basalt boulders help them choose where to strike next? Historians still argue whether these natural soundtracks were divine guides or mere coincidence. Each step you take on this mental walk is cushioned by forest loam, not concrete. You feel the ground shift slightly underfoot. This isn't a modern park path. Around you, massive trees reach toward the sky, creating a latticework of branches overhead. You hear rustling, but remember, no, those aren't urban pigeons or distant traffic. They're wild parrots, and who knows what else. Now picture the rain. Soft, almost inviting. Yet here you're not running for shelter. Instead, you're pausing, listening, because rain's doing more than just falling. Historians agree that Olmecs settled along riverbanks and in regions with specific stone types, limestone, basalt, and serpentinite. But how did they find those perfect stones amid all the swampy tangle of roots and vines? Easy. They listened. Experts think the acoustics of rain against different stone types, those sharp, clean notes on harder rocks, the softer thud on porous stone, were key. Stopping beneath a ceiba tree, you let the rain grow heavier. Drops slide off leaves like nature's tiny water slides, hitting your arms in bursts of tiny coolness. Your focus sharpens, noticing not just a wall of noise, but distinct pitches. The Olmec sculptors probably heard those same variations. Rain striking basalt, sharp and metallic. Limestone might absorb it somewhat, creating a muted rhythm. Serpentinite, somewhere in between, perhaps, each droplet a sculptor's compass. Imagine that, standing amid dense greenery, your choice not directed by GPS or Google Maps, but by nature's whispers amplified by rain. No wonder the colossal heads are found where they are. Olmec craftsmen weren't just following rivers. They were listening to the stones, singing through the rain. Some say that even the smallest rock could sing a story, depending on the rhythm it answered to. If that's true, did those early morning drizzles guide them toward veins richer for carving? It's possible. One quirky theory in fringe archaeology, not to be mixed with the sillier crystal healing stuff, posits that stones absorbed atmospheric electricity from storms, making specific materials resonate in unique ways. That's right. Some believe that thunderstorms created a literal buzz guiding sculptors to the right blocks. We'll need more rain-soaked rock concerts to prove that one. Here's the clincher. There are records showing that Olmecs might have had specific rituals before selecting their stones. Picture a dawn ceremony. Offerings made, perhaps rain-soaked fruits or carved wooden tokens. Then the sculptors entered a grove. Not just anyone hears differences between rain on basalt versus limestone at first blush, but trained ears, especially those attuned through years of ritual and observation. They'd hear the stone's unique voices even in drizzle, a skill lost today in our noisy cities. So, why were the great carvings found precisely where they are? Perhaps it's not just stone abundance playing into it. Maybe it was nature's rain rhythm conducting them, note by note, to the perfect blocks. Historians still argue whether those colossal heads were meant as deities, rulers, or something else, but maybe their placement relied on a different kind of wisdom, one echoed in every raindrop that ever fell on ancient rock. Walking forward, imagine passing a grove where sculptors paused, heads slightly tilted, absorbing those wet rhythms, your footsteps slow, hearing the same cadence against stone and leaf. Those weren't random boulders. The choices made came from whispered truths carried by raindrops. Think about this. When was the last time you paused, rain soaking your hair, to truly listen? Maybe city dwellers lose that not just in noise, but in not trusting nature's guides. The Olmecs, they didn't have smartphones blinking, but they had something richer. The world itself speaking in a language made of water. Maybe somewhere along your path, a puddle forms, raindrops disrupting its surface. Here, we take a moment to let your mind connect. Think back. You've maybe watched rain hit pond water, made ripples. But think of those sculptors tracing rain's touch on stone. Each tap, each roll-off, were they seeing ripples in granite echoes? Historians still argue whether the acoustic methods they used for selecting stones were advanced or intuitive. Some suggest it's a blend, an artistry honed, where rain was not just a sound, but a guide. This all makes you rethink those massive stone carvings. Not just labor, not just ritual, they were conversations with the very elements. Each selection was a dialogue, the rain translating for nature, whispering where the best veins lay hidden. Imagine sculpting, hearing that constant rain rhythm, creating in harmony with the world's pulse. Some stories suggest that during major storms, sculptors would test stone's acoustics by striking and listening to their ring. It's almost poetic, isn't it? Picture an ancient craftsman, drenched but focused, a stone in hand, an axe at shoulder, waiting for the rain's verdict. Not just any tool would do. Each was chosen for its ability to amplify those rain-carved rhythms. Walking forward, you'd likely see a chisel lying on recently worked stone, water pooling in indentations. Maybe even see those sculptors taking breaks, turning their palms skyward to taste the rain, not just for water, but to feel nature's signature on their fingertips. Take note, the ancients didn't have advanced geological tools. What they had was something purer, immediate sound. The rain's drum on a granite head might have told them, "Here, strike here." A softer limestone patch, maybe held back, saved for finer details, nose curves, lip lines. Remember, not every drop landed the same way. Their skill was in reading those differences, letting art emerge where nature's hand was already at work. So, what's the takeaway here? While you're sitting comfortably, dry, maybe with a cup of something warm, rain wasn't just a backdrop. It was an architect, a sculptor's invisible collaborator echoing ancient choices. The stone's voices, carried through raindrops, guided hands to shapes that even now, millennia later, stand as testament to nature's subtle instruction. The way we think about ancient craftsmanship, it's not just muscle and technique. Nope, there's a dialogue here. Elements speaking in a language that, frankly, most of us lost touch with centuries ago. Maybe tonight, next time rain taps your window, let yourself tune in. You won't find massive stone heads, but perhaps you'll trace an echo of that ancient rhythm, rain guiding not just paths through the jungle, but the very essence of creation. You wake under a dawn sky painted lavender. The rain lingers, the Olmecs, their reverence for stone, an unbreakable bond. Today's journey takes you back, not to the polished marble of empires to come, but to the untamed earth, its raw whispers guiding hands like yours. The earth's wisdom wasn't something whispered from dusty volumes, but was etched across the landscape. Imagine, you're not merely walking through a forest. You are listening to the heartbeat of the earth. Every dappled shadow, every rustle, is part of nature's grand symphony. That's right. They believe stone had souls. Each drop of rain a secret handshake with the elements. What you might call a rainstorm, to them, was a sonic map of hidden treasures. Ah, but wait, let's not underestimate the sheer volume. Historians still argue whether the colossal heads were merely kings or cosmic guardians. But here's the kicker. In Olmec legends, rain was never just precipitation. It was a storyteller, a guide through granite and basalt mazes. Each raindrop, an expert geologist in liquid form. So, picture this. Quarries as amphitheaters with acoustics so clear. The stones sang when struck. The mountains, they didn't just amplify the rain's symphony. They were the percussion section. Echoes bouncing through those peaks were the real maestros. those reverberations not just sound, but messages about which stones would be yielding or defiant. Here's where it gets curious. You know how some modern architects swear by the Fibonacci sequence for golden proportions? Well, it's rumored the Olmecs might had their own ancient rhythm-based patterns, but we're veering into the murky waters of crackpot theory territory. Historians still debate whether certain monoliths are celestial maps. But what if their structure echoed raindrop rhythms? You see, some believe that rain's pitter-patter was a metronome for these sculptors, like composing symphonies with hammers. And let's not forget weather wisdom. Today, we track storms with satellites, but our ancestors relied on nature's subtle cues. The Olmecs, they had the earth's rhythm vibrating in their bones. They knew if the rain fell gently, like fingers tracing the edges of a forgotten page, the stone was soft and pliable. Yet thunderstorms, those violent crescendos of nature's symphony, perhaps warned them of tougher, recalcitrant granite. Now, take a breath with me here. You're not just touching rock. You're tapping into 1,000 years of communal memory, hands passed down secrets through generations. The stones weren't just material, but living entities. Each chisel mark, a conversation between past and present. Limestone, for example, was like clay for the sculptors. But limestone, it's not just about ease. Those soft veins could whisper entire epics when chisels kissed them. Ah, but not every stone was such a willing muse. Let's talk basalt, the dramatic diva of the earth's crust. Its smooth surface hid a core brimming with secrets. Only a rain-steeped eye could read between those flecked lines. Experts think its volcanic origins made it sing with resilience, not a mere rock, but a challenge for the sculptor's mettle. So how does modern science view this ancient symphony? The truth is, there's still much mystery. Some geologists speculate the Olmecs chose their stones by assessing erosion patterns, like reading an ancient manuscript left by the elements themselves. Yet others suggest a more philosophical alignment, perhaps. That rain connected these stones not just to earth, but to a greater cosmic order. Imagine, in that timeless dance, you follow not just footsteps, but raindrops, each droplet a compass through jungles to those sacred hillsides. But here's where things get fascinating. Some anthropologists argue that this rain-guided wisdom wasn't just about material, but the stone's spirit. Each quarry a living organism, its stones a harmonious choir waiting to be summoned. The very landscape itself became a tapestry of meanings and signs. Rivers whispered knowledge through their meandering paths, while mountains stood as guardians, their peaks piercing the sky's veil. Each valley's acoustics served as a sound well, amplifying the rain's voice, guiding artists toward choices that would resonate across centuries. Here's where some fringe theories spring to life. Researchers found microbe traces in quarries, leading to whispers about ancient microbial-assisted stone softening. Fact or fantasy? Well, Historians still argue whether that's true, but the romance adds spice, doesn't it? Finally, you'll marvel at one fact. The San Lorenzo heads weren't merely decorative, they were maps to spiritual realms. Each boulder hauled wasn't a burden, but an oracle. This is how entire civilizations could rise, guided by nature's ever-falling breadcrumbs. In modern times, we've perhaps lost some of that intimate connection. What might sculptors today say if we led them to a limestone slope, blindfolded, and let them feel the rains pulse through earth and flesh? Today, let that next rain shower feel like an echo from an ancient art school's open-air campus. Next time you watch droplets race down a window, think Olmec fingers, tracing those paths across stone canvases. The rain isn't just falling. It's narrating the hidden story of sculptors, stones, and the earth's ancient heartbeat. You step further into that old world rhythm, feeling the earth beneath your feet, solid and whispering. The rain continues its steady cadence, each drop now like a teacher, unlocking secrets long buried with the stones. Olmec sculptors didn't just chisel, they conversed, their ears attuned to nature's subtle cues. Remember, these weren't just artisans. Think spiritual geologists, listening for the earth's very murmurs during rain-soaked rituals. Their quarries became living classrooms, where every drip echoed through the stone. Ah, but we modern folks might miss this nuance. Some say that today's 3D printing gurus have nothing on ancient quarrymen. Historians still argue whether they used an invisible map of sound frequencies to find the perfect stones. Imagine carving through basalt and hearing a note that vibrates exactly like a middle C. That's not just a rock. It's a symphonic partner. The rain-soaked pathways were like musical staffs, guiding Olmecs toward their stone partners. Picture yourself crouched near a basalt outcrop. The stone seemed to glow, energized by the droplets running across its surface like tiny fingers on piano keys. It wasn't just rain falling, it was an orchestra tuning up, its maestros the ever-patient sculptors, each waiting for the perfect harmony to emerge. What you might find curious, though, is this whole idea of hearing stones. Skeptics would scoff, but even now, some remote cultures claim similar practices. Researchers recently discovered that certain rain-soaked stones produce distinctive vibrations when struck, effectively becoming natural tuning forks. Can you imagine striking a stone in the exact rhythm of falling raindrops and having it resonate like an old bell? That's a sculptor's dream and their secret tool. Let's dive deeper for a moment. You're at a quarry, the world muted by the steady rain. You see a basalt vein glisten, a promise of strength, its resilience mirrored by the sky's relentless patter. But how did they know? Think about an old fisherman's tale where the catch responds to a whistle. Sculptors, in essence, had whistles tools shaped to amplify the stone's hidden sounds. A limestone block might sing a high note, while granite's voice was a low rumble. Selecting the correct stone was akin to assembling a choir, and rain was their conductor. Here's where ancient meets almost eerie. Some scholars claim that when rain tapped certain stones, it uncovered latent frequencies tied to celestial rhythms. Fringe territory. Absolutely. But imagine star-crossing nights with a stone slab placed just so, absorbing not just rain, but moonbeams, becoming something like a cosmic keyboard. Wild as it sounds, some modern physicists are finding that ancient structures align with acoustic principles. What if sculptors' rain rituals tuned stones to frequencies lost to the modern age? Today's sculptors might chuckle at the thought. But just for a moment, close your eyes and envision yourself there, rain-soaked and barefoot. Your chisel isn't just a tool, it's an extension of that connection. Each strike a conversation between past, present, and the stone. Every drop orchestrates a symphony where you, the sculptor, are both composer and conductor. In this ritual, every step you take is echoed by ancient feet. As a sculptor, you wouldn't merely chip away. You'd listen, waiting for the stone's murmur to harmonize with the rainfall. Can you feel it? That's sacred, rhythmic selection in action, not merely a work task, but an earthly communion, one note at a time, with the falling rain writing the score. Now, take a deep breath with me. Let the rain continue to guide. Every drop now resonates with thousands of years of wisdom, each puddle a reflection of ancient practices. So when you see rain patter, remember it's whispering an age-old tale, sculptors guided by water's wisdom and the stone's secrets, all dancing to the same ancient rain-driven melody that echoes through time. The rain heightens your senses, each drop a subtle reminder of ancient rhythms. Sculptors would pause often, letting the cadence of falling water seep deeply into their listening bones. You move slowly, your steps aligned with nature's metronome. Experts think this careful synchronization guided sculptors to their stones. Can you sense it? That quiet anticipation, like tuning a grand piano to the elements. Each stone had a story waiting to be revealed. And there's a quirky twist. Some believed rain could wash away negative energies from stone, leaving only its purest voice. Fringe, maybe, but imagine tapping a limestone slab, the sound ringing pure, like clearing spiritual mud. Historians still argue whether our ancestors had ways of testing stone integrity using rain-tuned frequencies. Look around. The quarry shifts subtly in the downpour. The air feels electric, and you realize rain was their invisible guide, amplifying nature's whispers. Remember that time when someone joked that ancient technologies were just another version of Stone Age gadgets. Here, those gadgets were literally rocks, each drop a tool, each frequency a clue. You bend closer to a basalt outcrop. The steady drumming on its surface isn't just white noise. No, it's ancient wisdom in sonic form, an audible fingerprint. Your ear almost catches a hidden note, rain-kissed stone, vibrating like a guitar string. Sculptors would sense the difference in sound between freshly quarried blocks and those aged by sun and storm. Every chisel's echo a lesson wrapped in the rain-soaked silence. You imagine, for a moment, listening tools made from organic materials, an ancestor's ear trumpet. Bamboo tubes amplified stone's song when raindrops fell upon them in certain rhythms. Ridiculous, you think, then chuckle. But seriously, some fringe archaeologists claim sound frequency knowledge was so advanced. Ancient ears could detect seismic events hours before they happened. Was it just intuition? Or did those sculptors understand something we've yet to uncover? You crouch down near a jade rock face, its smooth surface now a canvas for water. The rain's melody shifts through minor and major echoes on rock veins. These weren't just artisans, they were alchemists of sound, transforming rain into choice. The rhythmic pattern was a cipher, decoding which stone to select for what purpose. Sculptor's ear meets elemental teacher. One quirky fact: some contemporary shamans still believe rain-tuned stone can transmit healing frequencies. Imagine that for a hot second. Sitting in a crystal shop where the shopkeeper swears their quartz was rain-charged last April shower. Sure, you might get a skeptical grin, but the idea that weather directly influences stone's aura isn't entirely new. Picture this: hands-on, rain-kissed limestone. The soft stone, tender beneath the rain, sang different tunes compared to harder granite. Experts think some sculptures had acoustic properties, intentionally tuned by the rain itself. Your fingertips dance like spider silk. You feel the subtle shift in pitch as the rain's touch deepens. Not just an artist, a cosmic tuner of natural symphonies. What if history hid a deeper understanding, that each stone choice carried frequencies aligning to celestial harmonies? Rain pours heavier now, the quarry transformed into a living drum, each rock face an instrument. A quick modern parallel: today's construction workers use sonic detectors for foundation cracks. Sculptors here used rain, maybe even better tools. Experts ponder how much of our modern techniques build upon ancient acoustic wisdom, lost and perhaps forgotten. Historians still argue whether Olmec stonemasonry was more art or a complex science of sound. Each drop lands with knowing, an audible tap like ancestral fingers on a stone piano. Your ear follows the rhythm, one drop for the beat, the next a quarter note. No music sheet, only nature's steady hand guiding sculptors to the exact stone for each statue or slab. You feel an unexpected connection, as if past hands reached through time, teaching through rhythm and pulse. As the downpour steadies, a thought strikes. The rain is not just an element, it's a bridge of knowledge linking eras. You straighten, feeling droplets slide down your neck, an ancient baptism of skill. Each splash teaches patience, each rivulet a lesson in listening. Sculptors, guided by celestial rain and earthly wisdom, became artists of resonance. A thought sparks, remembering how ancient peoples tracked time using shadow clocks. Perhaps they also marked seasons' changes via sonic properties in stones, as rainfall guided them toward the perfect material for each solstice. You imagine a sculptor, rain-soaked and listening, selecting from granite, jade, or basalt, the stone's story revealed through the rain's persistent drumming. What if it was the sound, not just the sight, that chose the stone? Those subtle frequencies, too faint for modern ears, but crystal clear to ancient ones. A quirky notion, but in a world where sound heals, frequencies that tune mind and matter were vital. You walk to another spot, each step a rhythm, each pause an echo. Your senses heighten, attuned to the nuances only raindrops know. Imagine now sculptors waiting, feeling vibrations in the air before striking the chisel. Sculptors weren't just shaping stone, they were shaping sound, an inaudible masterpiece of resonance. Their listening rituals a symphony performed under cloudy skies. An unexpected thought weaves through your mind. What else do raindrops remember, etched in song and stone? You stop near a cliff face, droplets cascading down the rock like shimmering notes. Your hand grazes the surface, feeling the coolness, the subtle vibration left by countless drops of rain. The quarry whispers back, the ancient symphony alive in each tap. Perhaps these stones sang songs of history, of nature's harmony preserved through the ages. Every rain a class in how to live, a lesson in balance. The rain not just a guide, but a living presence, teaching and transforming with every fall. Time stretches as you listen, the rain's song deepening your understanding. Sculptors moved with purpose, ears and hearts aligned with nature's rhythm. Each raindrop a lesson, each stone a testament to listening to those who chose wisely. The earth revealed its secrets as you feel the last droplets on your skin. The air hums with the knowledge of those ancient artisans. Rain's wisdom etched in every chosen stone. Your journey a dance, each note a step into the timeless rhythm of earth and rain, forever harmonizing to create. Mountains loom tall around you, their peaks a silent audience to the rain's performance. Each drop falls, but the real magic begins when those drops rebound off stone faces. The mountains act like nature's own soundboard, amplifying every raindrop into a symphony of knowledge. Sculpting wasn't arbitrary, it was a rain-guided ritual, each stone selected through these mountain echoes. Imagine standing beneath an enormous cliff, water cascading down in sheets. The sound here, it's not just rain, it's the mountain's voice resonating through water. Sculptors would close their eyes, focusing on the echoes, how they danced and played off jutting rocks and craggy edges. Experts think these echoes carried hidden messages, revealing the stone's secrets like a cosmic tuning fork amplified by nature. Fun fact: some mountain stones have natural acoustic properties. A raindrop hitting certain basalt formations could produce notes similar to tuning forks. Sculptors may have chosen stones with these properties, ensuring their carvings sang when rain fell upon them. Picture a colossal basalt head not just admired visually, but designed to resonate in harmony with the rain, creating a symphony every time it stormed. Historians still argue whether these ancient sculptors intentionally harnessed weather patterns for stone selection. Were they merely guided by the mountain's wisdom, or were they true acoustic pioneers? Perhaps somewhere between the two. Standing here, you almost get it, how the earth's rhythms merged with rain's orchestration. Every drop, every echo, not just guidance, but a living map pointing the way to the perfect stone. An unexpected thought pops in. Some ancient cultures believed mountains were the meeting point between earth and the sky. If you climb high enough, the gods would be closer and raindrops purer. Could the mountains' amplifications carry divine messages, guiding the sculptor's choices? Sculptors were mountain pilgrims, their tools not just chisels, but antennas tuned to nature. As the rain intensifies, you spot a series of crevices halfway up the mountain. Rain splashes into these gaps, producing a distinct musical quality, like a waterfall playing harp strings. Even you can't help but notice how the mountain shapes the rain's song. One quirky notion: if this rock formation existed today, it would probably be a tourist attraction, nature's own rain-activated instrument. Imagine paying to hear a stone symphony during a downpour. But here's where sound meets substance. The mountain's acoustics guided sculptors to veins of stone, perfect for monumental carvings. Drops that echoed differently revealed hidden qualities: density, resonance, strength. Each echo held a clue: granite versus limestone, basalt versus shale. Sculptors wouldn't just see the stone, they'd hear its hidden life, its strengths, and its flaws. Their selection process involved a complex dance of sight and sound, rain guiding their fingers to the best choices. And let's not overlook the mountain's strategic role. Some believe these colossal sculptures were astronomical markers or divine signals. If raindrops influenced their acoustics, then perhaps each carving broadcast messages across valleys, not just seen, but heard. Sculptors created monumental acoustic maps, their stones humming with purpose during every storm. The thought strikes: imagine ancient ceremonies where these stone carvings were part of grand performances. Maybe rain-activated acoustics played roles in rituals, the mountain's echoes amplifying the voices of priests and shamans. Would we today dismiss such practices as primitive? Probably. But as you listen to the mountain's rain-washed serenade, it seems that ancient ones had tools of harmony and unity we can only begin to understand. You find yourself drawn toward a stone formation that's still resonating from recent droplets. Touching it, the coolness and vibration seep through your fingers. Sculptors would spend hours here, listening, feeling, learning. This wasn't just a technique, it was a spiritual connection. Mountains, like wise elders, whispered truths through rain, each sculpture crafted not just for visual grandeur, but as an acoustic masterpiece, their voices harmonized by mountain echoes raindrops painted. As the clouds begin to shift, you take in the view those colossal heads scattered below. Historians often marvel at their size, debating logistical challenges. Yet, here's another wrinkle. These stones weren't just selected for durability, but for how they rang true when rain struck. Sculptors created both a visual and auditory wonder, every storm a reminder of their legacy. Mountains and rain spoke in frequencies we've long forgotten. Taking a final look at the stone face before you, the last raindrops form ephemeral whispers. Each echo is a note in an ancient song, a language of rain, and mountains that speaks of wisdom, persistence, and connection. You straighten, feeling the last traces of water on your skin, each drop a lesson, each echo a memory. The mountain's song still sings through these stones, a testament to a bond with nature sculptors of old perfectly understood. And you stand here at the edge of time, listening. Valleys cradle the mountains, their gentle slopes capturing rain's song as a canvas. You wander through, noticing how these natural amphitheaters catch every droplet, holding them as if to savor the melody. Experts think these valleys weren't just geographical features, but acoustic maps for sculptors, musical blueprints guiding the way to valuable stone. Imagine ancient artisans moving with the rhythm of raindrops. Each drop echoes off stone faces, creating a symphony that guides their journey. They might press against rock walls, listening for that perfect resonance, a sound that only mountains and valleys could amplify. You notice the way sound lingers here, how even a soft rain becomes a cascade of notes, guiding sculptors to their choices. Raindrops fall differently here, a quirk in nature. Some ancient texts suggest that rain in these valleys carried magical properties, each drop holding hidden potential. Sculptors may have believed that stones chosen during such rains were infused with life, making their carvings more potent. Could they have truly heard the whispers of nature in these droplets? Maybe, as strange as it might sound, you pass a rock that's still singing, its surface reverberating softly. Historians still argue whether these stones were selected for their beauty or their song. Sculptors understood their worth by the way they complemented the earth's music. Could they hear the future carving in each note? Standing here, you feel that possibility. Each echo isn't just a sound, it's a guidepost leading to hidden treasures beneath the surface. As you move through the valley, you can almost hear the stories in the stones. Imagine a sculptor, hands roughened by constant work, pressing an ear to a rock, then pausing, knowing the valley's echoes would tell of strength, resilience, and harmony only they could understand. How rain transformed a simple rock hunt into an art form, where each choice was as much about sound as substance. An amusing notion strikes you. If these valleys had Instagram today, they'd rival any sound bath influencer. Raindrop acoustics, one might post, nature's symphony for your senses. The irony isn't lost. Ancient techniques for stone selection might be trending on social media if they didn't disappear into time. But here, you understand, this was no trend. It was a living connection between earth, stone, and rain that transcended mere beauty. Rain patters on leaves above, creating a natural canopy. You pause beneath, listening to how the forest's canopy traps and releases rainfall, another echo chamber of nature. Here, valleys become classrooms for sculptors, teaching them to listen, to decipher the hidden whispers within stones. Every drop a teacher, every echo a lesson. Sculptors might sit here, closed-eyed, feeling droplets merge with ancient knowledge, learning secrets that only rain could reveal. As the rain slows into a drizzle, the soundscape changes, now quieter, more intimate. You hear individual drops, each one a potential clue. One quirky belief was that rainwater held wisdom from the heavens, descending as tiny oracles. Sculpting wasn't just carving, it was communing with these whispers. Standing here, feeling the damp air, you understand why some saw the rain as messages from the gods, each drop imbuing the stone with purpose. The valleys seem to stretch, guiding you through layers of sound and time. It's impossible to ignore how nature's layout creates corridors of echoes. Sculptors would follow these corridors deeper, rain guiding their path, valleys amplifying their truth. Historians speculate if these acoustic phenomena dictated where major works were placed. Were the valleys not just quarries, but the heartbeat of their cities? Echo chambers that harmonized daily life with the earth's pulse. You reach a small outcrop at the valley's edge, glancing back at the colossal carvings below. Think about the rain-soaked journeys sculptors took, valleys whispering each step. Their choices weren't arbitrary, they were encoded in the rain's rhythms. Each sculpture placed after a ritualistic rain, each stone echoing with purpose. You stand there, taking in a vista where each drop, each song of the valley, led to a masterpiece. As light breaks through the clouds, you hear the valley's last echoes, softer yet profound. Sculptors would finish their work and then listen, the final notes resonating around them. Rain-chosen stones stood as testaments, part of a larger harmony nature dictated. Each drop, each valley, was an architect of their dream. Standing here, with those ancient songs in your ears, you get it. How the valleys were as essential to their art as the mountain's heights. And while the rains may have guided hands, valleys were music to sculptors' ears. Standing here, you understand. The stones were chosen through symphonies of weather, each raindrop an echo of a mountain's wisdom, a valley's guidance woven through time. Stones had spirits. Ancient sculptors felt them awaken through rain. Every drop resonated with hidden life, echoing secrets only they could hear. You approach a quarry where the air feels charged, electrified by nature's subtle whispers. Experts think some stones were more than mere minerals. They held essence, a personality. Each rock, like an old acquaintance waiting in the wings, had a tale only rain could unveil. They say the Olmecs could read these stories, drop by drop, as you run your fingers along a stone's cool surface, you imagine how even an untouched boulder could sing under the right sky. One raindrop hits the stone, sending a gentle ping. You watch it spread, an expanding ripple revealing layers beneath. Sculptors chose their quarries like a master chef selects produce at market. This particular stone, you're told, has a name among locals, El Guardian. Historians still argue whether it was named for its watchful presence or its ability to reveal others' secrets standing before it. Perhaps now you start understanding their quandary. You peer closer, feeling the wet sheen. Imagine ancient artisans, hands stained but perceptive, touching similar surfaces. These stones vibrate differently, each droplet setting their inner song free. Some say sculptors performed rituals before each selection, ensuring the stone was willing, its spirit agreeable. They even mixed rainwater with clay for better adhesion, blending natural elements into their craft. Who knows? Perhaps each piece carried hints of both earth and sky. Your mind wanders to how the first sculptor must have greeted these living stones, coaxing their consent through rain. Could this ritual have awakened stone spirits, drawing out their silent symphonies? Every drop that fell became a note, a conversation carried on by time's hands. One quirky legend hints that stones caught in morning rain were the most willing, each sunrise kiss sealing their fate. It makes you grin, the sun setting the stage for raindrop auditions. You shift your weight, feeling the ground's hum. The very quarry grounds you stand on have absorbed centuries of whispered exchanges. Even now, they seem full, a living library where the past breathes gently. Each stone's chosen moment, dictated by weather's rhythm, a testament to nature's role in sculpting history's canvas. Perhaps some stones sang more fiercely under stormy skies, while others whispered secrets in drizzle. Imagine the sculptors then, reading the stone's moods, understanding their nuances. A stone's willingness wasn't just about hardness or color, it was a dialogue. Each rain-washed hand felt a pulse, a story waiting to be uncovered. Rain became their translator, a celestial intermediary connecting earth and artisan. Some believe even the placement of sculptures mirrored this, sites chosen by rain's blessing and the stone's song. You follow a nearby path, listening. These ancient songs still resonate through quiet valleys, each rock retaining a fragment of its past. Think about how the landscape must have acted as a vast orchestra, with valleys and stones as instruments. Sculpting wasn't just physical, it was a deep listening exercise. Sculptors tuned into these natural symphonies, understanding echoes that traveled through stone veins and mountain roots. Each stone, each raindrop, held purpose and narrative. You hear a sudden patter, the skies again converse with the earth, and you stand mid-sentence between epochs. Every stone's choice reverberated with life's rhythm, each drop adding to the masterpiece of time. Sculptors listened to their symphonies, and you, standing in the echoes, understand. Rain chose, and stones complied, creating harmony through history. Historians still debate how much this bond influenced major works' outcomes. Did sculptures echo their quarries' songs, preserving whispers through times? As you feel another droplet land, a bridge between past and present, a dialogue between elements, you grasp the sculptor's silent wisdom. These stones, infused with rain's melody, became more than artifacts. They became timeless voices, immortal songs carved in the world's memory. The rain stops momentarily, leaving an anticipatory hush. It strikes you then how these stones, once selected, remained connected to the skies. Their creation wasn't an ending, but a beginning. Rain sculpted, time sang, and stones bore songs that defied eras. Each piece stands testament, a note in a melody started ages ago. Now, standing here, you feel an intimate part of that dialogue. Every stone, every drop, resonated from rain's embrace. Sculptors became the hands of the storm, translating whispers into wonders. And in this quiet, you understand the stone's spirits, awakened by rain, echoed truths, making their beauty both alive and eternal. You wander a little deeper, where the air hums with quiet energy. The rain here seems to dance with purpose. Sculptors followed these drops, deciphering their guidance. Experts think ancient craftsmen relied on these soundscapes, droplets painting invisible but palpable maps across stone faces. Imagine each raindrop as a stroke of sound guiding skilled hands where to strike and shape. Quarries back then teemed with life, not just in their mineral richness, but in how they resonated with the world. The very concept of dead stone would make a sculptor scoff. Each piece vibrated beneath rain's touch. Some say Olmec artisans even tested stones' acoustic properties, believing harmonic resonance connected earthly work to cosmic balance. They'd strike rocks with small hammers, listening how different pitches answered the rain. Now tap your fingers lightly on a nearby surface. Notice how it responds. Sculptors of ages past did the same, perhaps hoping to catch a note in sync with celestial music, ensuring their creations sang not just with earthly beauty, but universal purpose. Historians still argue about how integral sound might have been in determining quarry sites. Could rain's chorus reveal the presence of hidden seams or particularly resonant stones? Some enthusiasts suggest there might have been a spiritual dimension, that each raindrop echoed with ancestral approval, giving the green light for stone to be claimed. As you move toward a cluster of stone pillars, the ground feels almost like a well-tuned drum. Even today, it's easy to understand how these quarries, drenched and responsive to rain, appeared as living orchestras. Each storm was a performance that unveiled Earth's secrets, drops dictating rhythm and stone singing along. One quirky tale tells of an unseasoned apprentice who mistook a rock's echo for a spirit warning. It took veterans to explain. That sound resonated from the right alignment of the mineral layers. Such moments highlight how interlaced knowledge and mystery were bound together through natural sound. You glance skyward as clouds shift and a fresh patter begins. Every raindrop here seems purposefully placed, almost as if nature herself is collaborating with the quarry's legacy. Imagine these stones whispering truths, each raindrop an instruction manual for the sculptors. They'd crouch, listen, and feel the ground beneath, ensuring the stone's spirit harmonized with weather's song. Some legends propose that during particularly harmonious rainfalls, the stones would sing back louder, guiding even the most unskilled hand toward a masterpiece. There's even a fringe theory suggesting rain could imprint emotions, crafting stones imbued with more than artistry, but with the essence of that moment's weather, lending sculptures their profound mystique. Mainstream archaeology confirms that many Olmec sculptures were placed according to acoustic principles, ensuring their presence resonated through ceremonial spaces. Could these same principles have been at play when selecting quarries? There's undeniable evidence that rain's rhythm influenced not just where stones were taken, but how they'd eventually sing in their final placement. In your mind, you see the sculptors moving with grace, hands dancing to raindrop symphonies. Every chisel strike, every hammer tap felt guided by cosmic pulses. Each action was a note in the world's song, and stones selected in harmony remained eternally connected to nature's melody. Perhaps, in some ancient way, this is how artisans ensured their creations became eternal echoes, stories whispered through time. Rain resumes full force, and you linger, allowing each drop's conversation to guide your imagination. You feel a sense of continuity, linking past whispers with present moments. The very air around you pulses with unseen threads, connecting you to those who sought stones under these same skies. Standing amid ancient soundscapes, you grasp the dance between stone and storm. Sculpture wasn't just about human skill, it was about collaboration with Earth's rhythms. And so, in this rain-charged quarry, you sense their shared song playing, rain guiding sculptors' will, stone responding with resonant life. The air around you buzzes with energy. You're almost there. Rain continues to play its role, speaking not just to ears, but through every fiber of earth. Some whispers carry histories, others hidden wisdom. Experts think it wasn't just sound. Rainfall patterns told tales of readiness and resistance, guiding sculptors with more than melody. Each season's rhythms brought different secrets. Monsoons might reveal softer marble's location, while gentle autumn rains pointed to tougher, resilient stones. Remember how a single raindrop could hint at mineral layers. Artists tuned their intuition to these atmospheric whispers, understanding through changing tempos and tones. You glance up, feeling almost as though clouds are an ancient map, with each shift revealing hidden truths for those patient enough to decipher. Historians still argue whether some sculptors might have predicted seasonal changes purely through rainfall. Weren't these craftspeople perhaps the finest natural meteorologists? It's fascinating how deeply intertwined Olmec artistry and environment were, where droplets on moss became the day's lessons. And let's not forget the quirky tale of a supposed talking cliff, where rain echoed through specific crevices to mimic human voices. Local legends claimed it was a weather oracle, advising sculptors on the optimal day to carve stones. While mainstream science might scoff, remember how acoustics in those environments could turn geography into instruments. Not such a stretch. Ahead, you notice a rock face that seems to tremble with resonance. The idea of stones singing in harmony with storms, rainfall sculpting, not just physical shapes, but destinies, feels almost supernatural. Every rhythm carried layers of meaning. When, where, and how deeply to sculpt. Sculpture and meteorology fused in symphony, with every artist both a chisel wielder and a storm listener. In these sacred quarries, rain's lessons weren't simply heard, but absorbed through the skin, the senses. That's your next step, imagining how each drop, striking stone or your outstretched palm, transmits more than sound. There's a tactile history here, the seasons marking every chisel with stories of readiness, of transformation. The landscape here whispers secrets still. You lean in closer, feeling history hum beneath dampened soil. Sculptors left no manuals, but encoded their knowledge through these resonant lands. Drops still echo truths in every rain rhythm, guiding seekers just as before. You pause, rain tracing patterns on your skin, a reminder that even now, Earth's song continues its timeless teaching. Your fingers brush damp stone, each raindrop a pulse against your skin. You pause, feeling the quarry's heartbeat. Here, in this ancient place, each droplet carries stories from eras long past. Sculptors once learned to decipher them, feeling, not just hearing, the lessons rain imparted directly through their fingertips. Rain's intimate whispers guided not just ears, but hands to find the stones ready to be transformed. Historians still argue whether tactile sensitivity helped sculptors distinguish between stone types purely through moisture patterns, but the tradition felt almost alchemical. Did you know some artisans believed in touchstones, rocks that resonated only when aligned with their intended sculptor? Fringe lore, perhaps, but ancient practices often had surprising scientific roots. Here, water's gentle caress on the skin became a dance, leading artisans to treasures concealed beneath the earth's surface. Tactile traditions run deeper than any tool could carve. Rainfall would first soften the surface, allowing hands to probe crevices imperceptible during dry spells. Your fingers mimic this now, feeling the damp embrace as if they too could extract the stone's secrets. Sculptors once moved like slow-motion dancers, each touch intentional, as if the stone could withdraw its consent. You find an indent, wet and cool. It's the kind of spot where droplets pooled, lingering just long enough to soak the surface fibers and mutate its acoustical profile. Ancient craftspeople tuned their hands to these variations, sensing whether the next cut could proceed safely. Some even swore stones would respond to specific palm pressure patterns when moist. Remember that story about the singing basalt cliffs? Legends claim their resonance changed under different rainfall intensities, but historians still debate whether sculptors actually altered their chisel rhythms to sync with these natural frequencies. Did the rain's tempo help dictate the pacing of their work? A drumming cadence to guide each sculptor's hands. You move deeper into the quarry, feeling droplets cascade upon your shoulders. Each step reveals how these ancient quarries functioned more than just stone sources. They were orchestras of natural forces. The rhythmic patterns sculpted not just stone, but minds, cultivating patience, attunement, harmony. Even the raindrops became a tool's echo as they struck the earth. Here, each raindrop on exposed surface stone revealed tiny geological secrets: mineral hardness, fracture lines, grain variances. Sculptors learned to read these droplet signatures like seasoned meteorologists decipher sky patterns. This art still resonates. As rain taps your skin, you feel an echo of their patient, probing palms. You let your hands graze across different stones, limestone here versus basalt there. The rain's touch highlights how moisture travels differently across their forms. Sculptors might have identified preferred stones by how they shed rainwater's weight. Maybe hands learned to read these patterns, tracing water veins as if they were maps, searching for stone arteries that revealed deeper truth. Your fingertips glide over a slick granite slab, cold and unyielding. Its surface feels like it absorbs information more than it releases any. Sculptors once felt similar contrasts, choosing those stones whose touch felt more like receiving a gift rather than extracting a resource. Some even thought stones warmed up under the right rainfall. Did the touch transform? Legends speak of sculptors testing basalt after a thunder-heavy rain, claiming it felt less stubborn when soaked. Though modern experts are divided on whether its porosity actually fluctuates with atmospheric changes, historians still argue whether these claims were anecdotal observations or genuine geological sensitivity passed down. You continue feeling those ancient traces, the rain tracing stories on every inch of earth and stone and skin. This connection felt almost ceremonial. Each droplet carried millennia's worth of wisdom. Hands learned to translate those pulsations into lifelike form, sculpting more than stone, but capturing the atmosphere's breath. As the rain intensifies, you find yourself drawn toward a cluster of rocks that seem to hum with residual resonance. Here, the sound isn't just ambient, it's almost tactile. Sculptors might have known to prioritize such areas, recognizing how the rain and rock interacted, how they sang together. The stones here felt more willing. It was as if the heavens had already begun the crafting. Tactile echoes lead your fingers toward a soft sandstone patch, rough, but yielding under the moisture's influence. Here's where the elements seemed to conspire together. Water softened, rain whispered, gravity molded, all while sculptors felt the world's rhythms merge through their palms, turning droplets into divine instruction. The sky's increasing melody draws you deeper still. You imagine the final steps, a sculptor's hands, slick with rain, resting upon a freshly hewn carving, not just admiring their work, but feeling it breathe, each raindrop now, a testament to their enduring legacy. You pull away, rainwater tracing patterns on your fingertips, feeling the wisdom they carry. Rain still teaches those willing to listen, those who stretch their palms to grasp not just the past, but its ever-echoing lessons. And here, where earth and sky still converse, a sculptor's touch becomes eternal. The rainfall shifts, whispering secrets directly into stone, its voice now a tactile dance between earth and sky. You move to a section where limestone abounds, its surface smoother than the basalt and granite you encountered earlier. Historians still argue whether Olmec sculptors preferred limestone because it was easier to carve, or if its unique sedimentary layers held more spiritual significance. Limestone had a way of absorbing rain's touch, retaining moisture that seemed to soften its surface just enough. Some experts think rain might have actually altered limestone's microporosity temporarily, making it easier to handle during active quarrying. The debate among scholars is ongoing, with some suggesting weather conditions directly influenced stone selection based on physical workability. Your fingers trace a groove where water pools just long enough to highlight small fossil imprints. Imagine ancient sculptors noticing these tiny markings, perhaps believing they held echoes of prehistoric life, transforming inert matter into stories. Some fringe archaeologists even propose that specific sedimentary layers contained microcrystals that resonated when wet, guiding artisans toward stones imbued with these ancient voices. Here in this rain-filled space, you feel the difference. The limestone is more like clay under your hands, softening with each successive droplet. Sculptors might have felt as though the stone was alive, responding to their touch when nature orchestrated this symphony. Legends say water and stone together created acoustic signals imperceptible today, a kind of proto-sonar that helped locate veins of optimal carving material. Rain's embrace feels almost personal now, as if guiding you toward a specific slab of rock. Your fingers find a ledge that catches the water, allowing it to drip rhythmically into a small pool below. Perhaps this is how Olmec artisans found their limestone, listening to how water played along the stone's natural contours. Some sources claim ancient sculptors used water flow patterns to divine the stone's inner qualities, reading the earth's liquid script through its dance. Imagine a sculptor, centuries ago, feeling this same limestone, knowing that rain would reveal its true nature. The droplets here feel more like revelations, transforming mere stone into history's whisper. Modern geologists argue whether this belief in stone voices was purely symbolic, or if there were actual acoustic or vibrational properties now lost to time. As the stone's surface cools under your touch, you realize why limestone was cherished. It wasn't only its workability, it was its willingness to converse with the elements. Water and earth harmonize in this limestone bed, each droplet an instructor, leading sculptors to the essence hidden within. Ancient craftspeople likely sensed this dialogue, letting water reveal which stones carried the breath of ancestors and gods. The interaction felt almost sacred, a ritual where nature marked certain stones with the rain's lingering kiss. Each groove you trace on this limestone slab seems to resonate, as if the past still vibrates here. Rain intensifies, droplets now cascading in a steady hum, guiding your fingertips toward the limestone's hidden songs. You feel the earth teaching you, as it did for the ancient sculptors, a lesson written in water and whispers. The limestone waits, ready to be carved not just by hands, but by the rain's eternal rhythm. With the limestone's secrets now etched into your mind, the rain shifts once more, urging you forward. You glance toward the imposing granite outcrops nearby, a sharp contrast to the limestone's forgiving touch. These stones hold their own enigmas, harder, heavier, but whispering through the same rainfall. Granite, with its mineral fortress, demands respect. Historians still argue whether Olmec sculptors chose granite specifically for public sculptures to ensure longevity or to symbolize societal strength. The debate rolls on, with some contending that the very durability of granite was metaphor and medium fused. You watch raindrops skitter across the granite surface, leaving an intricate pattern of scattered beads. Experts think this erratic water behavior might have hinted at granite's resistance, a material that wouldn't surrender easily to the chisel. But resistance also meant that when a granite sculpture was finally birthed, it would stand the test of both weather and time. Your palm glides over the granite's jagged texture. Unlike the limestone, which practically invited touch, this stone's stubbornness feels deliberate. Some fringe theories even suggest that sculptors listened for a different acoustic response from granite, a kind of dull thud versus limestone's subtle hum, indicating which veins would hold or reject their tools. The idea persists. Stones had voices, whether melodic or defiant. Granite's density means its moisture retention is different. You note how water slides over the surface instead of soaking in. Some believe this hydrophobic quality might have signaled to sculptors which granite blocks would remain unaltered by humidity, preserving their sculpted forms against the relentless tropical climate. Now imagine a craftsman, long before, pressing their ear to this stone, hearing its granite heartbeat. Did the sculptor read stories in the way rain pooled and trickled, learning to navigate its intransigence? Or was this granite's defiance something to be admired, a challenge to overcome rather than comply with. Experts argue over whether ancient reverence for such hardness went beyond practical application to cultural symbolism. You kneel closer to the stone, your fingertips exploring the minuscule quartz flecks sparkling like stars. Here, the rain feels like a relentless teacher, not always kind, but steadfast. As you trace the granular surface, you grasp why granite was selected in instances where limestone would be unsuitable. It's a dialogue between sculptors and earth, one of persistence rather than gentle persuasion. Rain begins to drum harder on the granite. You feel each drop insisting, perhaps even resisting, its surface unmoving. The water seeks paths where it cannot enter, shaping a unique melody at the intersection of force and stone. Legends hint that this very defiance made it sacred, that granite symbolized not just stone, but the endurance of their civilization. Granite's cold persists beneath your palm. You contemplate how it held up through the centuries, a legacy crafted in partnership with rain. Some wonder if ancient sculptors viewed rain as both a tool and an opponent. As water met stone, who truly shaped whom? The eternal question lingers here, in each resistant drop. In this damp interaction, you catch the granite's story, not of submission, but of resilience. Ancient sculptors found an echo in its challenge, as each raindrop was a lesson and each chisel a question. Here, you understand the granite's stubborn grace, how it was honored not just for its permanence, but its silent endurance under rain's eternal touch. You find yourself standing before the last great marvel, basalt columns rising from the earth like soldiers of an obsidian legion. This stone, polished by millenniums of nature's patience, gleams under the rain as if wearing armor designed to absorb and reflect. The scene makes you think, how could such a bold material not captivate the ancients? Basalt's allure, dark, yet luminous, tells a story of volcanic origin. Historians still ponder whether its formation was considered a divine gift, forged by celestial forces beneath the earth. The idea of a stone born from both flame and flow likely held a magnetic pull for the Olmec, their reverence for duality mirrored in basalt's dual nature. You run your palm along a basalt column, its cool smoothness contrasting sharply with granite's abrasive texture. There's a smoothness here that feels almost slick. Raindrops slide swiftly, collecting at the base in small black pools. Some theories suggest that the very way rain behaves on basalt gave clues about its workability. The slick surface meant tools could glide easier, turning the basalt almost like sculpting butter. You imagine ancient sculptors here, their hands gliding over basalt's plane, fingers tracing where water would guide chisel. Each raindrop would have sung a different tune, a high-pitched plink that announced this stone's readiness to transform under skilled hands. Experts think that perhaps basalt's allure lay in how these high notes revealed the veined secrets beneath its hardened shell. Legends whisper that basalt was favored for monuments that required both beauty and boldness. Think colossal heads, their expressions commanding even the heavens to hold still. Imagine a sculptor, ear pressed to basalt, sensing its hidden song. Did they choose this stone not just for its luster, but because it echoed their own ambitions to leave enduring marks upon the world? Some fringe lore even suggests that basalt was believed to possess the voices of ancestors. How else to explain such reverence? Your fingers stop at a basalt section where rain collects, forming a small, shimmering pool, almost like a mirror. In it, you see not just your reflection, but perhaps the very reason why basalt was revered. This stone seemed to capture and hold the light and the mystery of ancient eyes. Those colossal head sculptures forever gazing out through the veil of rain. You ponder, what was it about basalt that made it the stone for monumental statements? Experts argue endlessly whether basalt symbolized cosmic origins, merging fire's creation with Earth's grounding touch. Historians still debate whether basalt sculptures were intended as intermediaries between the earthly and the cosmic, a belief threading through every raindrop and chisel strike. As rain intensifies, the sound shifts to a persistent staccato on basalt's dense surface. This percussion mimics the heartbeat of ancient workshops, where rhythmic tapping carved stories into stone. The very resilience of basalt demanded respect and perhaps inspired awe. Some claim that even the rain fell differently here, not just a natural rhythm, but an echo of ancient craft. Maybe the rain was their ultimate conductor. Leaning in, you sense the weight of history etched into basalt's gleam. Imagine those skilled hands moving with confidence, each chisel strike answering the calls of both tool and weather. Through every droplet, you feel not just stone, but stories, an entire civilization's pulse. Here, they found beauty in black and learned that resilience could be art. The sky shifts, sending a sudden gust that scatters rain. It reveals new gleams on basalt surfaces untouched moments before. Each revelation asks you to see what sculptors saw an ally in adversity, a statement in strength, and a timeless dialogue between human ambition and elemental force. As you step back, dripping with inspiration, you understand why basalt was selected. It wasn't merely a medium, but a testament to resilience, to echoes of the past, and to the endless song of rain against stone. The scene unfolds, endless basalt pillars stretching into the misty horizon, whispering through every raindrop the secrets of ancient artisans who dared to sculpt the undaunted. In the resonance of a single drop, you hear their timeless challenge accepted by those who knew how to listen. Standing beneath the cascading sky, you realize the final secret. Basalt wasn't just shaped by hands, but by nature's own symphony. And like the ancients before you, you know this material holds not just a shape, but a soul waiting to be unleashed. As your footsteps recede, the rain continues its relentless drumming. each tap now a promise to the stone that stories will continue to be told, carved, sculpted, and whispered through every drop that falls. Stones have whispers all their own, you realize, voices revealed only through the dance of raindrops. You lean closer, listening. Each plink against the slick basalt surface seems not just random, but intentional, like a hidden conversation finally reaching your ears. Experts think these subtle shifts in sound helped ancient sculptors select their precious raw materials. Imagine early mornings where sunlight barely cracks the twilight. Mists roll in, kissing stone faces until rain arrives as nature's herald. How many times did sculptors crouch low, ear almost pressed to the rock, deciphering nature's clues through its changing symphony? Every droplet told tales of stone's density, grain patterns, and even mineral secrets hidden beneath its hardened shell. Historians still argue whether these ancient artisans fully understood their uncanny ability to hear qualities imperceptible to our modern eyes. When rain struck particular angles, did they perceive whispers of strength or warnings of hidden faults? Some fringe accounts suggest that particularly resonant stones were thought to harbor ancestral spirits, guiding their choices in mysterious reverence. You follow a meandering path where the landscape meets water. Here, where the earth opens into a shallow basin, you see how sound magnifies against certain stone walls. Echoes amplify the rain's song, transforming into a chorus that dances across millennia. Sculptors must have known this, how strategic locations shaped not just the stone selection, but the very magic of making. Basalt, you see, isn't the only story here. Limestone, with its honeycombed surface, absorbed high-pitched notes into softness. Granite, in contrast, resisted with defiant thuds, stone not merely heard, but felt through bone. The act of listening evolved with each material. The ancient world was a literal soundscape where geology sang its availability. Imagine them, seasoned hands calloused, but attuned more to vibration than visibility. Sculptors would walk acres, ears tuned to how water dictated each section's readiness. This was no mindless task. Each step, every pause to crouch and listen, became ritualistic, where rain-intoned stones considered blessed, favored by unseen forces, nature's own whispers marking their worth. An unexpected laugh escapes. Modern architects think blueprints are high-tech, you muse, while here they had blueprints from the heavens. The realization dawns that these rain-touched masters needed no fancy tech. They had an orchestra in every storm cloud. One tale, perhaps more myth than memory, weaves through this history. Rain once revealed stones with peculiar green veins, later dubbed serpentine. Those ancient sculptors believed rain turned snake-like stones docile, perfect for intricate carvings. Of course, today's geologist might debunk it all down to mineral composition and weathering effects. But what's life without a little mystery? Further along, you encounter ancient quarries abandoned, but for their stony echoes, Standing here, it's easy to imagine how rain might expose hidden fractures or veins. One whisper from a drop might have revealed a stone's future in temple pillars or humble utensils. Did every sculptor have a favorite pattern, a rain rhythm that indicated the perfect balance between beauty and utility? How mundane does today's tech seem in hindsight? It's said that when the skies opened wide during the rainy season, sculptors would hold ceremonies, perhaps to honor the elements, maybe seeking blessings from rain deities. We know they carved under both sky and sun. But when rain transformed mundane quarries into resonant amphitheaters, didn't they treat the elements with deeper respect? A few scholars argue there's a distinct shift in artifact quality after seasonal rains, a claim still argued in hushed academic circles. Listening stones weren't chosen by sight alone, but through resonance. Some believe that specific carvings were attempts to mimic that first raindrop echo, aiming to immortalize those moments of divine guidance. Whether ritual or pragmatism, the link between sound and selection shaped an entire civilization's cultural outputs, sculpted, quite literally, from whispers carried on water. Your fingers, still slick from basalt pools, now tap the rock surface. An involuntary rhythm forms rain's own staccato, and in those echoes, you hear their wisdom. Stones guided not just by touch, but by melody, each raindrop a verse in a never-ending creation poem. You stand amid ancient carvings, a temple's silent witness, and time seems to pulse with a different rhythm. Each drop on worn stone tells a story that spans generations. The cycles of rain, you realize, dictate not just material readiness, but entire periods of creativity. Historians still argue whether sculptors timed projects to seasonal rains, knowing precise moments for peak stone quality. Picture the first spring showers, thunder cracking the silence, turning dust into muddy masterpieces. Sculptors waited not impatiently, but with reverence, recognizing nature's tempo over mere calendar dates. Rain not only softened stones, but tempered ambition. You ponder their patience, how many generations learned that impulsive carving led to cracked statues, while mindful delays birthed masterpieces. There's that quirky legend again, rain supposedly causing stone to bloom overnight with unusual markings. Modern geology might scoff, attributing such occurrences to rare mineral shifts or natural oxidation. But the poetic truth lies in those whispered nighttime changes. You wonder if certain rainshowers bore the weight of community lore, as if each droplet carried ancestral blessings. When the rainy season finally arrived, wasn't it like receiving not only nature's permission, but its enthusiastic participation in their craft? Experts think such timing extended beyond just practical readiness. It may have been essential for material harmonization, creating seamless integration between stone type, tool efficacy, and artistic vision. Picture your modern self, phone check obsessed, deadlines looming, And then those ancient hands. Sculptors had no digital calendars, only the sky's shifting moods. They could feel seasonal rain weaving through their daily practices, their rhythms syncing not just with stone, but the very breath of weather. Each drop fell as nature's metronome, guiding hands when to strike, when to pause. How different our hurried world feels against their rainwater wisdom. Was every rainy season marked by a ritual dance around newly revealed stone veins? Did they celebrate rain's first appearance or mourn its end? Historians still argue whether such cyclic synchronization had shamanic roots or purely pragmatic origins. Did rain readiness trigger spiritual feasts or merely mark work cycles? Imagine artisans, faces turned skyward, interpreting cloud formations not as meteorologists, but as sacred omens of creation windows. Today, a thunderstorm might mean rescheduling, but there, rain dictated seasons of creation. Sculptors must have treated each drop as both a reminder and a gift, rain as both a tool and a partner. Did they feel each season's end like a family member departing? Rain sculpted more than stones. It curated entire cycles of existence. Every new drop after long droughts felt like birth announcements. Each final patter a closing chapter. How would our productivity-obsessed culture survive here, where timelines were written by clouds, not boardrooms? A particularly harsh summer, you muse, meant more than dryness to these creators. Prolonged drought rendered quarries inert, a pause button pushed not by humans, but by nature herself. Experts think stone porosity changes affected even chisel choice, rain governing the dance between tool and rock. Perhaps they'd share seasonal storytelling contests, where best analogies for rain earned you winter's first pick of the finest basalt. You laugh, imagining a mix of folklore festivals and stone carving talent shows, nature's own variety hour. Even today, certain rain patterns like monsoon symphonies draw crowds. But what of their silent reverence when storms finally breached months of anticipation? Rain's arrival was celebration, preparation, and even inspiration rolled into each echoing droplet. Sculptors likely passed down rain wisdom like family secrets, each generation adding its own melody. Historians still argue whether those seasonal delays sparked entire mythological cycles or merely sharpened practical skills. One thing's clear: rain wasn't a disruption, but the rhythm that composed entire lifetimes of artistry. A particularly persistent drizzle on limestone creates an entirely different sonic experience, a duller plop, almost like an ungrounded complaint. Perhaps in those times, rain's very texture would guide entirely different artistic paths. You trace a finger over worn carvings, feeling how limestone softens under drops, while hardy basalt retains its resonant pulse. The dialogue between nature and creators remains timeless, a song sung across ages. Each drop, each season, not a mere interlude, but an essential verse in a symphony of creation. The ancients never separated their existence from the elements. Each rainfall became a stroke in their ongoing masterpiece. And standing here, you feel that same eternal pulse, nature guiding not just hands, but hearts in a harmony neither time nor technology can replicate. Sculptors' intuition, a dance between experience and the rain's relentless rhythm. You stand surrounded by the ancient quarried stone, feeling how fingertips once traced these same surfaces. Each drop became a teacher, each season a master. Hands didn't just mold stone, they translated rains, whispers into tangible gods and heroes. Rain is nature's own metronome. Its cadence taught sculptors how to feel the stone's readiness with their palms. Years turned into decades, each harvest season bringing new lessons. Historians still argue whether intuition was learned or inherent among master sculptors, passed through bloodline, or was it carved, literally, from understanding rain's subtle cues? With time, those artisans developed a sixth sense for stone, a blend of experience and atmospheric intuition. You notice how limestone turns smooth under persistent drizzle, its surface yielding, while basalt remains hard, but sings an entirely different melody when kissed by rain. Sculptors learned to hear these sonic differences, translating them into their choice of tools and timing. Experts think the ancient ones might have crafted their implements specifically for different weather conditions. Their knowledge, fine-tuned by generations of stormy lectures. Imagine a master sculptor face upturned to catch the first warm drops of spring, knowing it's time to unearth a new vein of jade. His hands know not to rush. Every impatient blow would echo against the stone's will. You recall the saying, patience carves deeper than any chisel. This intuition about material readiness came not from textbooks, but from mudslick trails to quarries and nights spent listening to rainfall sing against different rock faces. But did every master's apprentice need to meditate under the storm? Some legends suggest sculptors would enter rain-drenched caves too. Let the stones speak. Was this merely a rite of passage, or did actual acoustic resonance within these sanctuaries reveal stone spirit secrets? Sculptors would place their ears against damp cave walls, feeling vibrations, perhaps aligning their inner frequencies with those of materials about to be liberated. No MRI scans back then, just nature's own litmus test. Rain not only softens, but sharpens perception. The first drops of monsoon season carried not just water, but ancestral whispers, guiding sculptors' choices. Each decision carried the weight of millennia, each new statue born as a blend of human skill and nature's choreography. Did ancient artisans feel a divine partnership with these atmospheric phenomena? Historians still debate whether seasonal carvings were merely functional or divine acts of co-creation. Today, we celebrate intuition as a psychological phenomenon. But for them, it flowed from mountains and rivers, taught by the elements themselves. Sculptors likely learned from both experienced masters and the landscape, becoming mediums between rock and rain's constant conversation. You trace their footsteps, almost feeling the collective wisdom etched into each path. How the land became a scribe, rain the ink, and each master sculptor the quill. Every drop a mentor, each storm a classroom. Hands learned when to strike and when to wait, feeling the stone's readiness beneath their palms. Experience met rain's rhythm, and sculptors emerged as interpreters, turning weather patterns into masterpieces. This wasn't just skill, it was a dialogue with the universe, each new creation echoing the rain's teachings. Standing here now, you sense that same ancient knowledge, an unbroken lineage carried in every gust and downpour. Legends grew through rain's stories in stone. Each drop was not just a whisper, but ink painting tales across epochs. You walk alongside timeless creations, feeling how each carving was more than just a task, but a living narrative crafted in the embrace of meteorological moments. Historians still argue whether the Great Flood of 1200 BCE inspired an entire generation of rain-themed sculptures. Did each cascading droplet etching a new hero's epic? Imagine the scene, sculptors sheltering under rocky overhangs as storms rolled over the plateau, each flash of lightning illuminating not fear, but inspiration. Their works became immortalized folklore. The deluge not only shaped valleys, but also the myths told round firelight. Did you know some artisans believed raindrops could reveal a stone's hidden will? Whisperers, those whisper-sensitive sculptors, would spend moons in secluded caves, tracing droplet paths like ancient runes. Their peculiar practice suggests the belief that each water bead was a divine brushstroke, guiding them to the perfect stone vein. Was this merely poetic superstition, or a fringe manifestation of atmospheric acoustics? You feel the cool mist on your forehead, understanding their primal connection. Rain became legend-filled scribe as sculptors etched stories spanning dynasties. How the serpent's sacrifice, once just a whispered cautionary tale, found form through chisels blessed by storm-soaked hands. Each peck echoed with thunder's vibrations, each detail revealed only as the last veil of rainfall unveiled it. Experts think this might be why certain sculptures seem unusually lifelike. Perhaps they were, in a sense, storm-born. Some tales suggest that after a particularly thunderous night, sculptors would interpret peculiar mineral striations revealed by fresh rainfall as sacred runes. Could this explain why certain artworks align with celestial maps? Historians speculate whether these weather-divined patterns were simply artistic guides or markers of a forgotten celestial cult. Standing before the colossal jaguar, you notice strange patterns beneath your fingertips, remnants, perhaps, of its rain-storied beginnings. Legends grew with every flood's retreat, each droplet etching another page of history across the mountain faces. You almost expect to hear voices, Perhaps those whispers once held such gravitas that stone became the chosen medium. Some fringe narratives suggest the Olmecs believed certain rainfalls could baptize stones, infusing them with the spirit world's essence. Did sculptors see themselves as translators, converting these ethereal waters into tangible gods? Even a peculiar practice known as rain calling persisted in scattered workshops. Novices would mimic thunderclaps, hoping to summon those elusive drops that only masters knew how to interpret. Was this mere lore, or an arcane method to harness seasonal wisdom? Each crash of their wooden tools against the floor might have been a question, nature's response echoing back from mountain peaks. Some claim these rain-forged sculptures hold echoes from antiquity itself. Did the ancient Olmecs think their art pieces would hold future answers? Rainwater, absorbed over centuries, might have rendered their works as more than aesthetics, living libraries of wisdom etched through time. Imagine retrieving not just a statue, but a narrative, one that grew fuller, more textured. Each monsoon season, you hear the last droplet from yesterday's storm plop into a stone basin. Stories, like the rain, never truly stop. They merely wait beneath surfaces, unseen, until the next tempest caresses the earth, each carving a legacy, each downpour a continuation of an eternal saga begun not just with hands, but with the elements themselves. As the clouds begin to gather once more, you feel that ancient knowledge waiting to be written in the air. Rain united, a sculptor's ally as vital as their chisels. You feel the shared camaraderie, craftspeople under the same deluge, each drop forging invisible bonds of purpose. Through the whispers of water cascading from stone to stone, a community's heartbeat takes form, resonating through generations. Historically, the ancient city of Tres Zapotes reveals stone carvings intricately aligned with communal worship sites. Each raindrop might have echoed through open plazas, drawing families to watch, to learn, and to contribute their stories. Imagine sculptors working shoulder to shoulder, each tap of their tool in rhythm with another, where their hands synchronized by shared rhythm, rainfall's metronome. Some more whimsical tales speak of mischievous sculptor apprentices who believed rain clouds carried stone-choosing secrets whispered by trickster spirits. Legend claims novices sometimes milked clouds in the hopes of eavesdropping. Did their elders indulge them? Or was this purely childhood fancy spun through the ages? Experts think this might be the quirky origin of stone selection rituals seen in less formal workshops scattered through remote villages. As rain forged unity across labor, historians still argue whether such environmental collaboration formed the bedrock of Olmec societal cohesion. Did the shared experience create not just artworks, but a unified narrative across towns? You picture young apprentices running between workshops, feet splashed with mud, each carrying news of the day's discoveries in the rhythm of raindrops. Rainfall became more than water. It was the pulse that synchronized heartbeats and hammers. Under gray skies, families gathered, sharing knowledge of which stones yielded the purest sound when tapped beneath drops. This exchange wasn't just trade, it was kinship, a shared respect for nature's bounty, forged in moments of meteorological communion. Each raindrop, a reminder of interdependence between sky, soil, and hand. Noticed ever how some sculptures bear subtle watermarks, curved indentations, only visible when viewed from certain angles? Scholars speculate whether these were intentional or simply byproducts of communal sculpting sessions interrupted by sudden downpours. Each unintended mark could tell stories of hasty shelters, communal laughter mingling with the rush of storm. Were such imperfections cherished, telling tales of collective resilience? In a more curious folklore twist, some tales speak of nights where rain was said to carry voices of ancestors, dictating stories directly into wet clay and soft stone. Did this myth justify the frequent retouching of already completed works during the rainy season? Each master might have pretended to listen for these ancestral whispers, their tools reshaping legends beneath the drizzle. It's easy to imagine how such practices could blur work and worship into seamless tapestries of tradition. Standing beneath the stone carvings that speak in silent testament to this unity, you trace fingers over still visible drip marks, rain's signature through ages. Every groove tells of a hand, a chisel, and a moment when creation was collective. Rain may have shaped stone, but it solidified the bonds, making each sculptor not only artist, but custodian of an ever-growing saga. Historians ponder whether this symbiotic relationship with rain, more than just tool or symbol, might have influenced Olmec social structure itself. Was rainfall seen as equalizer, uniting class and craft under the same sky? As apprentices learned alongside masters, the community's collective wisdom grew with every storm, each drop forging new alliances, not just between sculptors, but between the elements and the crafted narrative. And what of those rare, electric storms where thunder seemed to dictate rhythm? Imagine sculptors gathering to watch the sky, hammers pausing as nature took the lead, their own hearts beating in syncopation to celestial symphonies. Rain in those moments wasn't just inspiration, it was collaborator, crafting not solely with hands, but with nature's very essence. Even now, standing among these marvels, you feel that communal pulse. Each stone tells more than its own tale. It recounts a network of shared moments, of camaraderie under sun and shadow alike. Rain shaped these monuments, but also the friendships and knowledge passed like droplets from one hand to the next, preserving stories in the spaces between each line carved by time. As the skies shift once more, gathering their silvered whispers overhead, you realize how these ancient artisans found not just material in stone, but in the rain and their bonds, the true essence of their creations. Each droplet wasn't just rain, it was a connection, an enduring testament to the people who listened, worked, and dreamed beneath the same tempest-laden skies. And here you stand, beneath its canopy, a witness to their enduring legacy. Tools and raindrops harmonize in an ancient dialogue. You imagine yourself amid bustling workshops where artisans wield implements finely tuned to nature's percussive rhythm, chisels polished smooth by countless seasons catch the glint of stray sunbeams between cloud bursts. Each strike echoes with intention, the clink resonating in perfect symphony with the rain's cadence, a duet centuries in the making. Historically, the Olmec's preferred tools, basalt axes and jadeite axes, became extensions of themselves, passed down like heirlooms. Picture the careful reverence with which masters taught apprentices this sacred choreography, the delicate balance between force and finesse. Too much pressure, and you lose the stone's spirit. You hear them caution as droplets punctuate their wisdom. But what of those whispered legends, half fabled, half forgotten, about rain-imbued tools left to sleep beneath moonlight? Some say these tools gained mystical sharpness, while others thought it mere superstition. Experts think this quirky practice may have originated as an early weather forecasting method. Did dew-coated axes predict clear days for quarrying? Historians still argue whether such rituals were wholly spiritual or had practical applications. Were they meant to infuse tools with supernatural strength, or simply ensure they remained pristine through proper care? You can almost see the debate in their furrowed brows, each raindrop adding weight to their theories. With each precise strike, you feel the sculptor's innate understanding, a balance honed through lifetimes. Novices, despite their initial uncertainty, learned to trust this rhythm, nature's metronome guiding their transformation from apprentice to master. Hands once awkward found fluid partnership in the rhythmic interplay of chisel and stone, each drop a reminder of their lineage's cadence. Now imagine a particularly fervent storm, the kind where thunder drums louder than any carving. Such moments became sacred rituals, you think, where tools themselves seemed to sing. In the lull between downpours, the echoes of work reverberated through valleys, carrying not just sound waves, but the very essence of creation itself. Perhaps this explains why some surviving artifacts bear those curious, wavy incisions reminiscent of rippled ponds. Might they be intentional records of particularly rhythmic sessions? Experts think these might have been a deliberate signature, akin to a composer embedding their melody into each scored line. Historians, ever meticulous, ponder whether these ripples were functional, guiding subsequent decorators, or simply aesthetic echoes of raindrop percussion. Rain's embrace tightened around these communal endeavors. You envision master craftsmen leading apprentices through downpours, demonstrating how to balance stance and stroke against the elements. Each lesson, etched in droplets, became legend, passed down through the very stones shaped by those lessons. Some accounts whisper of tools blessed by shamans in intricate ceremonies where rain was both witness and participant. These rituals, part invocation, part waterproofing, became a bridge between the material and the metaphysical. Did sculptors believe lightning itself could imbue stone with vigor? Or was rain seen as a conduit for ancestral approval? Experts still unravel this debate as they puzzle over tools found within rain-soaked altars. In these rhythmic dialogues with their implements, sculptors transformed not just matter, but their very community. Tool marks became communal signatures, bearing the collective heartbeat of generations. Each raindrop a collaborator, each strike a resonance through time. And as you trace those tools' legacy today, you sense how deeply rhythm, rain, and reverence remain woven into every chisel stroke, echoing across millennia. Historians still argue whether tool shapes were dictated by purely functional constraints or by symbolic imperatives. Was an axe a weapon turned sculptor, or were its angles designed by rain-influenced geometries? You imagine the apprentices, their hands learning through mimicry, deciphering the rain's subtle lessons with each polished curve of basalt. The true mastery came not from stone or tool alone, but in the harmonious convergence of elements, with rain as their metronome. Olmec sculptors turned nature's rhythm into living art. Tools under their hands became extensions of this symphony, one where each drop carried the echoes of creation past, present, and future. Now, as you stand beside these weathered relics, you feel the convergence of craft and storm once again. Each artifact, a story told in ripples and strikes, speaks not just of hands, but of the rain that shaped them. You can almost hear the rains whisper through time, guiding every precise incision, harmonizing with the chisel's song. In the resonance of those stones, you find the enduring echo of rain-kissed mastery, forever guiding the sculptor's hand through ages. Imagine rainscapes now, those immersive symphonies of precipitation that become guides for ancient sculptors. You're transported to vast open-air quarries where the rhythmic chorus of rain transforms the stone itself. Or perhaps the very air around you seems dense with harmonic possibilities. Each drop isn't just water, it's a note in a larger composition that shapes destinies far beyond mere carving. Historically, Olmec artisans viewed the soundscape as integral to their craft. The acoustics of the ancient quarry might have influenced not only their material choices, but also the symbolic layers embedded within those sculptures. Experts think that certain stones resonated with specific pitches or overtones when struck during rainfall, guiding artisans toward materials that aligned with their sculptural visions. But consider the fringe notions. Historians sometimes debate those stories where stones and rain were thought to communicate in more direct, almost sentient ways. Some accounts speak of speaking stones, a concept you chuckle over, where rain would reveal hidden messages, or even the stone's spirit directly to the sculptor. Historians still argue whether these were just fanciful folktales or metaphorical ways to describe the natural acoustic properties of different rocks. Imagine walking those ancient paths, your feet slipping on slick clay, while droplets drummed onto your shoulders like a metronome, counting out ancient rhythms, sounds amplified under certain weather conditions, like that distinct echo off basalt cliffs, may have revealed not just the stone's practical utility, but its mystical potential. Sculptors might have selected materials based on the reverberations raindrops produced, seeing the work as harmonizing with the earthly pulse. Then there's the curious debate about weather and quarrying, whether the soundscape alone could predict quality. Some scholars suggest that the pattern of echoes in a rainstorm provided clues to the stone's substructure, a kind of ancient seismic analysis performed purely acoustically. Such practices would have given the element of listening a literal structural role in their work, turning rain into both tool and teacher. As you explore this ancient practice, you can almost hear those long faded dialogues, stone against tool, rain against earth. Those tools you once imagined now seem more like instruments in nature's orchestra, with the sculptor's hands conducting the symphony. Each strike resonates not just in the stone, but in the very air charged with moisture, droplets amplifying the artisan's labor like an audience clapping in unison. Think back to those earlier stories about shamans blessing tools within rainstorms. Their role, perhaps, extended beyond the mystical into the realm of practical acoustics. Shamans, attuned to nature's subtleties, might have even acted as sonic advisors, selecting materials based on their auditory harmonies when exposed to storms. Experts now consider such fringe ideas as valid research paths, recognizing that ancient knowledge often existed at the nexus of spirituality and science. You stand at a hypothetical quarry edge, rain falling around you, and envision artisans standing where you do. They feel the weight of tradition in each raindrop as their tools meld with nature's rhythms. Was their art guided not solely by ancestral wisdom, but reinforced by the land's very song? The notion feels romantic, a blend of sound engineering and mythology, yet historians aren't quick to dismiss it. They ponder the depth of their connection, seeking truths obscured by time. And as you linger in that imagined moment, you sense the weight of those ancient choices, both practical and mystical. Each chisel's tap against stone became part of a larger conversation, where nature wasn't just the backdrop, but an active collaborator. The rain sculptor dialogue still speaks through the artifacts we study today, resonating with an ancient choreography that remains profoundly alive across centuries. Imagine modern scholars peering into those same quarries with high-tech equipment, debating the practicality and reverence of practices long abandoned. They may measure decibels and reverberations, trying to understand how ancients harnessed this, nature's guidance, to their creative pursuits. And amid all that high science, there's room for wonder. perhaps even an acknowledgement that not all ancient wisdom can be neatly graphed or quantified. So, as you trace the contours of a centuries-old artifact, you're not just seeing the hand of an artisan, but hearing the echoes of rainwater symphonies that once filled these spaces. Sculptors, standing stone and sky, moved with the rhythms of rain, forever guided by the soundtracks that still whisper through their timeless masterpieces. You realize in this resonant blend of sound, tool, and earth that the legacy of Olmec artistry is an enduring conversation, a melody still audible, even if in echoes across ages. Elements conversed rain and stone, their whispers becoming the secret language of creation. You stand at the precipice of an ancient quarry, rain tracing patterns on your skin as a cool breeze carries their harmonious murmurs. The world becomes an orchestra, each droplet a note in nature's symphony, guiding the sculptor's hand. Mainstream histories tell us that Olmec artisans meticulously chose stones by touch, eye, and ear. But experts now question the deeper acoustic relationships that rain established between sculptor and material. Some believe certain stones resonated with voices during rainfall, communicating not just density, but spiritual suitability through vibration. Think about quirky speculations, those fringe theories historians often dismiss, like rain actually altering a stone's acoustics mid-quarry. Some propose that wet stone could sing differently than its dry counterpart, providing a temporal symphony available only during storms. Such notions make you chuckle until you realize the profound implications they hold for material selection. And who knows, historians still argue whether some stones were considered souled, their resonances thought to contain ancestral spirits when kissed by rain. Raindrops could have been the activation trigger, unlocking latent voices that dry quarries kept silent. Imagine these resonances guiding artisans toward materials carrying not just aesthetic, but metaphysical significance. Standing there in the hypothetical downpour, you envision artisans' faces, eyes closed, tuning their inner ears to the elemental chorus. Sculptors might have struck stones lightly, not just for sound, but for the soul notes they produced during wet spells. Each rain-enhanced tone could signal a stone's suitability for specific gods or ceremonies, blending craftsmanship with reverence. Consider how each raindrop might have transformed mundane geology into sacred material. The water's gentle percussion amplified stone vibrations, making each choice a collaboration between artisan, earth, and sky. Rain created temporal quarries, sonic landscapes that revealed themselves only under certain atmospheric conditions, making the selection process a seasonal dance choreographed to nature's rhythms. And don't laugh, some believe rain could etch temporary carvings in stone. Water droplets could create temporary sculptures, faint, ephemeral inscriptions that guided where deeper cuts should be made later when dry. Such techniques would imply sculptors used rain like living stencils, collaborating with the very elements that shaped landscapes around them. You feel a modern incredulity creeping in rational questions about the practicality of such ideas. Yet remember that same skepticism toward ancient, ridiculous practices like crystal sun gazing or animal blood divination, only to find those techniques held practical kernels of astronomical or medicinal wisdom. Could rain-tuned quarrying have been a literal soundscape guiding hand placement and tool strikes? You realize that even mainstream practices reveal the elemental reverence beneath. Traditionalists would select stones with acoustics that matched seasonal rain frequencies, perhaps a stone that harmonized with the monsoon's pitch became preferred for temple altars. This blending of sonic and ritualistic utility made each sculpture a material echo of the divine processes seen in weather patterns. Let's not forget those magic stones, those rare basalts that shimmered during heavy wet spells. Legends speak of these stones holding captive storm energies, their sparkles the lingering imprint of rain spirits. Sculptors might have believed these stones carried thunder's essence, making them ideal for deities symbolizing power and renewal. Imagine artisans soaked to the bone, their tools glistening, engaging in a dialogue with the world. Rain became the brush, wet rocks their palettes, and sculptors the conduits of this living narrative. Each chisel stroke resonated beyond the quarry, merging with the elemental symphony and perpetuating a bond between creators and cosmos. As you stand there, droplets tracing patterns down your back, you grasp the profound depth of this elemental symbiosis. Rain wasn't merely a backdrop, but an active collaborator, each sculptor a translator of nature's rhythms, turning transient symphonies into eternal forms. And amid the drumming whispers of rain, you realize Olmec artistry wasn't just carved into stone, but sounded out by the very breath of the world. Olmecs knew that weather was a sculptor's greatest ally, an invisible mentor carving destinies in raindrops. Standing beneath the gray embrace of an approaching storm, you sense how every gust and drizzle became a lesson for ancient artisans. Rain spoke in frequencies beyond simple hearing, tuning their instincts to its symphony. When downpours began, the world transformed. The air grew heavy with moisture that softened jagged edges, blurring the line between stone and cloud. Sculptors would wait, eyes turned skyward, knowing rain carried secrets in its rhythm. Drops became the metronome for their crafting, dictating pauses and strikes in cadence with nature's breath. Rain wasn't just background noise, it was a living presence. Each impact told tales of readiness and resistance. Experts think that early rainfall might have revealed stones too brittle for large carvings, their inner faults exposed by the water's percussion. Only when drops hit with a solid thunk could the sculptor proceed, assured of the stone's depth and durability. You ponder how seasons influenced the stone calendar. Rainy months were prime for soft basalt carvings, while dry spells called for granite stubbornness. Historians still argue whether certain monuments' placements were dictated by which materials sang during particular weather cycles. Maybe they erected sculptures facing prevailing winds, turning each one into an acoustic instrument for the seasons. Fancy a bit of fringe theory? Some claim rain could temporarily change a stone's acoustic signature, creating resonant frequencies only sculptors attuned to seasonal rainfalls could perceive. You smirk, recalling how your favorite conspiracy podcasts might call such claims crazy, until you realize these transient soundscapes could have directed entire artistic movements. Remember how earlier legends suggested that souled stones became active only under storm clouds. It appears rain was the key to unlocking their deeper properties. Wet conditions likely brought out colors and textures invisible in sunlight. Think of iron-rich rocks glowing with a rust hue during downpours. Sculptors might have relied on these rain-exposed hues to choose which materials embodied specific spiritual attributes. The sky darkens further, reminding you that for the Olmecs, choosing stone wasn't done in sterile workshops. They faced the elements, each decision made amid the dance of rain. They trusted whether patterns like seasoned mariners read the waves, some say, predicting rainfall with the same precision they interpreted stone veins. Who knows? Perhaps their greatest masterpieces emerged from storms others saw as mere obstacles. Olmec wisdom reveals itself as you stand here. Rain was an extension of the sculptor's hand. Each droplet carried wisdom beyond modern science's grasp, embedding reverence in every chisel strike. So when you marvel at their works today, remember that each curve and line was shaped not just by human skill, but by rain's guiding melody. The sky unfurls, gray clouds knitting a blanket over your thoughts. Under this expanse, the Olmecs breathed life into rituals shaped by rain's embrace. Here you stand, feeling the weight of ancient traditions hovering amid the droplets. Rituals weren't mere superstition. They were the lifeblood, stitching communities to their elements. You picture groups of artisans gathering before the first storms, perhaps sharing tales of stone spirits whispered through generations. The rain became more than weather. It was the canvas upon which they painted their devotion. Some researchers even speculate seasonal ceremonies aligned with lunar cycles that called forth specific rainfalls best suited for different stone types. Let's take a quirky detour. Some fringe thinkers propose that during certain rituals, the Olmecs may have utilized rainwater mixed with mineral pigments to consecrate their work areas. Yes, you read that right. They'd create sacred mud of all things. As absurd as it sounds, imagine the power such a mix might have imbued in their craftsmanship, connecting stone, earth, and sky in a tangible blend. Historians still argue whether these rituals always occurred on mountaintops, where the heavens seemingly kissed the earth. Mountain peaks would amplify rain's echo. Some say giving early sculptors an acoustic map straight from the gods. Every ritual act, from cleansing in collected rainwater to sleeping beside carved stones, became sacred acts woven into this cosmic fabric. As drops quicken, you envision a typical morning ritual. Sculptors perhaps gathered around a stone altar slick with dew and remnants from overnight drizzles. Each touch, each murmur of prayers to Tilalak, the rain deity, was a plea for clarity. Their hands, wet with nature's blessing, grew attuned to vibrations beneath the surface, learning the language of stone through moisture's touch. Here lies that fringe tidbit you've been craving. Did you know some speculate Olmec apprentices performed rain dances to test rock's resonance? They'd hop around freshly quarried stones while chanting, listening for frequencies that echoed back, a sonic litmus test, if you will. Ridiculous, sure, but imagine the joy could turning stone testing into a dance make their art even livelier. Seasoned masters perhaps taught young initiates that rain carried the wisdom of ancestors. Its rhythm wasn't just external, it pulsed through blood, echoing across generations. The patter on temple roofs matched heartbeats during peak monsoon, connecting mortal and immortal in one fluid cadence. You stand here, feeling that pulse, knowing ancient hearts beat now beneath your ribcage. Every step, every ritualistic breath synchronized with the environment. Some argue Olmec initiation rites included overnight stays within quarries during peak rain storms, a baptism of persistence. Those worthy had to prove their devotion not just by skill, but by enduring the whispers of the storm. Imagine that emerging from the earth's belly with mud-streaked limbs, utterly cleansed by nature's hand. The debate rages on. Did particular rainfalls denote the start of the stone-cutting cycle? Historians still argue whether the annual migration cycles of aquatic creatures upstream matched those moments Olmec sculptors deemed most auspicious. It's wild to think cosmic timing might have linked human hands, fish migrations, and storm forecasts into one intertwined tapestry. Listening became worship, every drip a sermon. As you stand under this growing downpour, you realize how much we've lost in the silence of our modern sanctuaries. For them, rain was the divine speaker, its patterns, sermons scribed onto the very flesh of the mountains. Today's artisans toil in silence, while ancient hands dance to this rhythm, guided by hymns from the sky. Each ritual was a symphony played on the strings of earth and spirit. You close your eyes, letting the water stream down your face. Moments stretch, bridging centuries, as you feel their reverence return. Drop by drop, this storm binds you to those nameless souls who once read the heavens in every pebble's quiver. Here at the crossroads of time, you grasp their secrets carried on the backs of these eternal messengers. Rain ceased to be a passive observer. It became the chorus that taught hands to carve, eyes to see veins like rivers across granite. You exhale, droplets mixing with your breath. You now understand. Olmec craftsmen didn't merely respect the rain, they performed with it as their guide. And in this moment, beneath nature's grand cathedral, so do you. The sky releases another chorus, droplets that are both weight and salvation. For the old masters, this would have signaled the beginning of yet another dawn, another journey into the embrace of wet stone. You listen, absorbing their echoes, feeling stone beneath your feet, alive with inherited whispers. Mastery felt rain-kissed, nature's alchemy etching skills into every palm. You trudge through the downpour, sensing how artisans became extensions of thunder's whisper and wind's caress, their lives intertwined with liquid lessons, each droplet a professor in disguise. Imagine a master sculptor, the rain a lifelong mentor. These artisans weren't merely carving, they were crafting symphonies with tangible weight. Historians still argue whether their finest works aligned with monsoon seasons, when stone supposedly pulsed with optimal vigor. Perhaps each chisel mark felt sanctioned, blessed by clouds themselves. One story threads through time like a silver needle. Ancient masters believed specific rain patterns imbued stone with vitality. Not all precipitation was created equal. After all, some drops held mountain wisdom, others carried coastal secrets. Sculptors learned to differentiate these watery dialects, choosing stones under drizzles that spoke life into their work. Rain-touched mastery wasn't just theoretical either. Each storm told tales in mineral echoes. When rain tapped against certain stones, the resonance revealed hidden flaws. You think of the quirky notion that some sculptors slept beside their quarries, dreaming of stone's whispers, and waking with a craftsman's sixth sense, a geological intuition. Craftsmanship in this realm wasn't a solo act. Sculptors believed rain united them with unseen forces. Every stroke melded with drops that danced across chisel blades, creating an orchestral harmony between artist, art, and atmosphere. Some believe the finest figurines emerged in years when rain balanced perfectly between tempest and drizzle. You take a breath, droplets clinging to eyelashes, feeling the meld of modern mind and ancient pulse. Did you know that a rain's acidity level influenced how stone absorbed pigment? Some claim Olmec artists selected palettes based on storm chemistry. While it sounds outlandish, envision the scene. An artist picking up ochre, knowing a recent tempest had primed basalt perfectly. As you wander these ancient echoes, you recall the open debate. Did certain rituals require rare, charged rain clouds? Some experts argue mountaintop quarries saw divine storms charged with unique electricity. Sculptors believed working during these rains infused their craft with celestial energies, literally making stone glow with otherworldly light. Each drop etched stories into memory. The rhythm whispered through bone and blade. In the final breath of a storm, sculptors perhaps knelt in mud, understanding their place in nature's eternal sonnet. You stand drenched now, feeling their skill rippled across eons into your fingertips, the echoes of those who danced with rain's spirit live here still. You walk through the drizzle, feeling the living legacy of rain's guidance etched into the land. Earth's whispers in droplets, unveiled stones, willing to sing under hands that knew how to listen. Each stone told stories, layers of time and patience captured in its weight, as nature's breath harmonized with human tenacity. Remember those sculptors who'd linger near their quarries overnight. Some believed they could feel the stone's heart beating under moonlit rain. It said a master could distinguish basalt's hum from limestone's murmur. After years of communion, you sense how each raindrop carried lessons, how to coax curves from granite, how to make jade surrender its secrets. Here's one historical fact. Archaeologists found tools still embedded in some quarries. Whispers of hands paused mid-carve when the rain spoke clearly enough to guide each next breath. Those tools, frozen mid-movements, remind us of moments when the earth breathed wisdom directly into the crafter's intent. Now, picture this quirky tidbit. Some artisans believed the frog's croaks before storms revealed stone's willingness. Was it the vibration in the air, the shift in humidity? Legend threads in that those who listened to the chorus crafted the most lifelike faces, as if the frogs themselves lent their voices to the stone's transformation. Historians still argue whether those who crafted during electrical storms infused their work with an actual energy. Could a storm charge a sculpture, making it resonate with forces beyond our current science? Some claim Olmecs harnessed specific clouds to awaken stone's own spirit, a mystical alchemy now lost to modern hands, seeking only the functional. You feel the mist's kiss and recall how ancient artists used rain's rhythms not just for guidance, but as a metronome for their work. Each strike of the tool aligned with bursts of droplets, an orchestration of sound and movement captured for millennia in bas relief. The storm's tempo set their pace, ensuring balance between force and finesse. Sculptors danced with the elements, making weather a willing partner in creation. Some believed rain held hidden libraries of ancient wisdom, that each cloud had absorbed stories from mountaintops, forests, and oceans. Sculptors would trace stone through rainstorms, deciphering this celestial calligraphy. You ponder whether they sought stones kissed by rainbow droplets, imbued with sevenfold potency. Did they know that a sun shower's dual nature blessed both the artist and the stone? Legends speak of a day when the rain turned to glass, each bead becoming an eternal time capsule. Artists who caught those drops could see the essence of time frozen within, making their reflections on stone profound insights. Perhaps that's where the belief began that specific rains could reveal the stone's deepest stories, the layers normally hidden beneath eons of silence. The rain slows, beads glistening like scattered jewels on leaves and skin alike. You're now attuned to the whispers of drops, finding purchase in ancient paths. There was a time when a sudden clap of thunder would make sculptors pause, not in fear, but in deep respect. Such a sound was a reminder of forces beyond their craft, a call to listen for patterns in nature's dialogue, both loud and subtle. This rhythm of creation left a mark on generations. Every drop held a possibility, a chance to breathe life into the stone, an echo of intents and spirits mingling. You let yourself imagine the scenes where sculptures emerged during the wettest months, believed to be when the earth and the heavens worked in concert. A master's touch might have been aided by clouds releasing their knowledge through electric pulses. The air thickens with the scent of clay and minerals, reminiscent of the kilns where figures were baked, infused with stories carried by rainwater. Some say that rain-gathered clays lent sculptures a unique spirit, grounding them in the earth's life pulse. You reflect on how some shapes and forms might have only appeared through the interplay of wet seasons and stone memory. Perhaps each monsoon storm held an ancient language, a dialect spoken through its unique pattern of falls. Sculptors might have learned these to choose the most resonant stone, aligning their work with nature's unseen script. Did they feel the earth's pulses through fingertips, a communion of flesh and mineral under the spell of cascading whispers? You look around, understanding how artists found not just their style, but their very essence imprinted by rain's endless narrative. Earth's whispers in each droplet guided skilled hands to carve out moments caught between thunder and silence. Masters emerged, not just through years of working, but by years of listening to the earth's heart beating in unison with the rain's eternal song. As the drizzle eases into a steady flow, you pause, sensing how centuries of raindrops became whispers of heritage, each fall echoing with the lives of those whose hands and hearts melded with the lessons of the wet earth. The landscape around you is a testament to those who listened to the song of droplets across lifetimes, leaving marks etched deeper than any chisel could reach. The drizzle transforms into a steady caress, wrapping you in an embrace of natural alchemy. Crafting in this sacred rhythm, rain as your guide, each drop teaches its unique secrets, breathing life into the stone beneath skilled hands. Every chisel stroke becomes a conversation, a partnership where nature reveals its hidden designs. You remember stories of how certain sculptures seemed almost alive, their eyes carrying the whispers of ancient storms. Some believed monsoons could infuse stone with an almost palpable spirit, a belief that carved forms held memories of the heavens' moods. Historians still argue whether these works held actual energy, or if it was pure artistry born from dedicated reverence to nature's cues. Imagine a sculptor during a night storm. Each thunderclap guided tool strikes, force-meeting resonance across mediums. Lightning would flash, casting shadows, revealing unnoticed textures. Did they feel guided by the skies, their rhythm blending into stone's spirit? One can only wonder how many masterpieces lie hidden, their inception tied to celestial spectacles. Rain, acting as both metronome and mentor, orchestrated the dance of creation. Sculptors aligned their breath with rhythm. The earth gave each chisel its cadence, its pulse, and its weight. Each raindrop not just a strike, but a lesson, leaving every piece of basalt or limestone a testament to nature's enduring influence. Under such skies were the craftsmen artisans or mediums to an older elemental art. There's a peculiar footnote in this legacy. Did they capture rain's scent? Experts think ancient sculptors used rainwater's essence to imbue their clay with life force. Some speculated it was the minerals in the water, lending sculptures a unique spirit. When rain mixed with clay, did it carry whispers of the mountains and streams? Or was it the sheer act of blending Earth's elements with human persistence? Olmec masters didn't just rely on sight. They worked with the Earth's language, spoken through touch and sound. Was this an instinct sharpened by generations? Carving became communion, each stone a hymn born of rainstorms. The steady pulse of falling droplets on earth and tools became a prayer, each masterpiece a silent chant to nature's own artistry. Was their craft inspired by rain, or did they see themselves as rain's echo in stone? The damp scent of earth mingles with the sharp tang of minerals. You recall how artisans believed that stones kissed by storm clouds resonated with deeper spirits. Each piece carved under a tempest told stories of resilience, reverence, and ancient rhythms. Craftsmen would say, weathering the storm, the sculpture emerged whole, imbued with sky's own spirit. There's an open debate. Did Olmec sculptors believe rain imbued sculptures with protective magic? Some carvings may have acted as talismans, keepers of storm's voice. Did each rain-blessed piece guard against drought or lightning strikes? Historians ponder, was it sheer skill, rain's touch, or an ancient mystery now lost, making each piece a blend of material and magic? Walk further into this world, each step a ripple through epochs, where raindrops marked time and stone. Here, crafting became a sacred rite, the rhythm of rain the artist's prayer. The dialogue between sculptors and the elements remains, echoing through every piece that withstands the test of time. Rain as mentor, stone as the pupil, an eternal dance of elements, and hands shaping history, one drop at a time. Rain's ceaseless whispers continue guiding skilled hands, their rhythm an inheritance of patience and devotion. Under the sky's steady breath, every chisel stroke became a whispered conversation, nature's cadence becoming the heartbeat of their craft. You feel the pulse of that legacy, etched deep within the soul of stone and the rhythm of rain. Every stone carved in rain's embrace holds an echo of the past, a memory spoken through the hands of those who listened. Each drop, a teacher, each sculpture, a chronicle of that eternal dialogue. As you tread the path lined with these timeless whispers, you understand. Crafting under the guidance of rain was not merely creation. It was a sacred offering, a dance of nature and will, captured forever in stone's embrace. You find yourself standing at a crossroad where earth and sky converse in rhythmic whispers. Here, the legacy of Olmec sculptors breathes through every grain of sand beneath your feet, and every droplet that traces the path of their tools. Rain, as both muse and mentor, infused their work with a timeless energy, an artisan's reverence meeting nature's cadence. Raindrops drum a steady beat on ancient stones, a haunting melody echoing through the corridors of history. Each masterpiece they left behind is more than a physical form. It's a silent ballad of ancient storms, a narrative carved from patience and devotion. Could it be that these sculptures, kissed by rain and shaped by nature's rhythms, tell stories beyond mere artistry? Some believe the sculptors thought each stone bore the whispers of storms, each rain-touched work a silent guardian against nature's fury. Historians still argue whether these beliefs held genuine power, or if they were symbolic gestures of deep reverence. Experts think the sculptors' deep connection with weather patterns gave their works a unique life force, not just through touch, but through spirit. Could these sculptures act as time capsules of atmospheric conditions, a synergy of elemental forces and human skill? Was their art born from pure instinct honed by generations, or part of a deeper, more metaphysical connection? Imagine an artisan under a torrential downpour, letting rhythm dictate their movement, each chisel strike synchronizing with nature's metronome. This dance between artist and elements forged an extraordinary bond, each stroke becoming a whispered secret between the heavens and the earth. Here, you're enveloped in a rich tapestry where rain's murmurs echo through time. You hear it in every drip and see it in the ancient stones that bear witness to the symbiotic relationship between sculptors and the elements. One quirky belief: did they think capturing rain's scent could imbue sculptures with a soul, a spirit alive with nature's fragrances? There's an unspoken conversation between the steady breath of the earth and the relentless voice of the sky. Did the artisans see themselves as mere translators? You can't help but wonder, as each drop lands, does it still whisper those ancient secrets, or have those echoes faded into silence? In this landscape, stone isn't merely inanimate, it's a reservoir of stories, each grain speaking of a different chapter. The damp coolness tells tales of ancient artistry, where the boundary between maker and material was as fluid as the rain that shaped it. The craftsmanship felt sacred, every chisel marked a note in a grand symphony of existence. You sense the pulse of their devotion, not just to their tools, but to the elements themselves. What if the real art lay in the harmony they found between nature's rhythms and their hands? Step deeper into this world. Did the rain shape their skill or their spirit? That debate still lingers. You ponder, was the sculptor's craft merely a response to natural phenomena, or an integral part of it. A cosmic choreography predestined by centuries of listening and shaping. With each step, the narrative unfurls, each droplet a verse in an ancient ballad, each stone a silent testament to their dedication. This path, carved by drops of wisdom and human hands, shows a dance where nature leads and sculptors follow. In this serene embrace of rain and stone, their legacy finds life. Craftsmen believed that through rain's guidance, they tapped into the stone's latent spirit, each work a harmony of material essence and divine inspiration. One fringe idea suggests that raindrops spoke an ancient language only the most devoted could understand. Could these drops have whispered ancient myths, lost stories, and arcane wisdom that no modern historian could decipher? Every chisel stroke, driven by the rhythm of nature's own heart, left a mark, not just on stone, but on history itself. They shaped mountains of limestone and basalt into living narratives. The question lingers, did those drops simply soften the stone, or did they unlock the spirits held captive within? Did Olmec Sculptors harness this mystical interplay to create not just sculptures, but living conduits of nature's might? Historians still argue, was the rain's guidance technical or transcendental? Let yourself be drawn into this timeless dialogue, where rain and rock share more than just their elements. You see the remnants of their artistry as sacred relics, not just formed by hand, but by nature's very breath. This ancient blend of instinct and reverence created masterpieces that stood as both physical works and spiritual offerings. The craftsman's touch harmonized with rain's voice, crafting legacies that resonate through millennia. Walking amid these whispers of rain and time, you feel the echoes of those skilled hands. Each sculpture, shaped under rain's delicate and relentless tutelage, is a bridge between tangible craft and ethereal connection. The dance of tools and elements remains a living, breathing testament to a legacy where art became sacred scripture, written not with ink, but with rain and stone. Each raindrop, a word, each chisel's mark, a sentence together, an eternal story. Raindrops become the pulse, an unwavering beat that syncs with the sculptor's rhythm, nature's metronome orchestrating each movement. Here, amidst ancient stones, you sense an extraordinary union between artist and atmosphere. Each chisel strike falling perfectly in harmony with the rain's cadence. Could it be that this divine syncopation granted their sculptures not only form, but life? Experts think that these rhythmic alignments might have been more than mere coincidence, a cosmic handshake between human craft and natural force. Under heavy monsoons, the sculptor's hands move in seamless ballet with the downpour's tempo. Each droplet guides their strokes, translating the storm's symphony into tangible form. Historians still argue whether this harmony was conscious or a sublime accident born of necessity and inspiration. Yet, the resulting sculptures bear an unmistakable vibrancy, as if the rain's very soul resides within them. Was this an artistry forged merely by the elements, or something beyond comprehension, a spiritual fusion unheard outside these ancient lands? Think about the quirky tale that rain not only shaped their work, but perhaps their visions. In rituals passed down through shadows of history, sculptors collected first raindrops of the season, their belief whispering those drops bore the whispers of the past. Did they hold conversations with the heavens to bless their stones? Was this practice mere superstition, or a symbolic act of deep communion? Some modern scholars joke it was equivalent to consulting the weather forecast. They were planning with nature's pulse. Rain's steady drumming became part of the artist, each tap an echo of their devotion and dialogue with the world. This sacred rhythm wasn't just inspirational, it was instructional. The tempo set the pace of their days and dreams. Every storm told a different story, a new challenge, and a new lesson. Did the artists see every rain as a different brush, painting not just on canvas, but on stone and soul? They believed the rhythm could speak words no chisel could carve, making raindrops their secret language. With every gust, the wind carried the scent of wet earth and secrets. Sculptors believed their tools would sing if tuned right. One curious fringe theory suggests they might have used rainwater-soaked stones as amplifiers. Each tool, kissed by rain, vibrated with the atmosphere's very pulse. Can you imagine the scene? Sculptors tapping their tools on stones, listening intently not just for the sound, but for the message, a whispered prophecy of the stone's spirit. Was this just folklore or a misunderstood acoustic science? These artists harmonized with their environment in a way we can barely comprehend today. Rain sculpted more than just the earth. It sculpted purpose. Think of their masterpieces as silent echoes of that ancient dance, frozen in time. Sculptures became living records of both their skill and the rain's touch, a legacy carved drop by drop. Each chisel mark became notes in nature's grand composition. Some say even the stones could hum when struck just right, a resonance that connected to something greater beyond our understanding. Raindrop rhythms became integral to their very being, each artist a vessel for rain's guiding pulse. You picture them under open skies, each stroke following the rain's tempo like a symphony conductor following sheet music. Here, the boundary between sculptor and storm dissolved, hands and raindrops collaborating in a divine act of creation. Could their skill have been a gift, passed down through generations by nature's own hand? Were these artisans chosen by the rain itself, keepers of an eternal covenant? Each rain-shaped creation felt alive, embodying the essence of the storms that inspired them. Experts theorize these sculptures served not only as artifacts, but as conduits, bridges between humanity and the divine. Imagine walking among them now, feeling that energy resonate through time. Can modern tools replicate this profound connection? Do we lose something irreplaceable when machines replace natural rhythms. The debate continues. Were these sculptors simply artisans, or were they seers, reading storms and sculpting destinies? Amidst this symphony of rain and stone, you're drawn into their world, sculpting as a ritual of listening, hands attuned to every nuance of the rain's voice, each stroke a response, a dialogue. You sense how each masterpiece became more than just form. It was a testament to their communion with nature. Can such harmony ever be recreated in our age of precision machines? Did the loss of this ancient listening also mark the loss of some sacred art? Rain sculpted not just the stones, but the very spirit of the Olmecs, each sculpture a note in nature's eternal composition. Their legacy lives on in the rhythm we still feel, a reminder of an artistry forged between drops and dreams, echoing through centuries. Feel the pulse of their masterpiece, a raindrop's gentle tap on stone, reverberating through time like a heartbeat of the universe. Stone and storm become allies, intertwined in a cosmic dance. Here, amidst ancient workshops and hidden quarries, you witness an extraordinary partnership between Earth's elements and human hands. Could this symbiosis have produced masterpieces that speak beyond words? Picture the sculptors, hands cradled by the cool whisper of rain. Each droplet isn't just water, but a signal, a guide. Their choices flowed not merely from vision, but from a deeper connection with the very elements that shaped their lives. Experts think some quarries might have even been chosen based on how raindrops sang against their stones. Historians still debate whether these artists saw themselves as nature's scribes, inscribing messages written by the heavens. During the rainy season, the air throbs. You feel the mist, heavy and pregnant with possibility. Sculptors, once wary of the relentless downpour, found their muse in the storm's fury. Think of how they must have watched each gathering cloud. Waiting, did their hearts race when thunder approached, knowing it heralded creation. Under the deluge, the granite and basalt spoke through water. Each rivulet carved miniature canyons, revealing veins of character hidden beneath the surface. The trick, recognizing the song each stone hummed with rain's touch. Some whispers beckoned warmly, others resonated harshly. Sculptors leaned in close to listen. The fringe theory among modern followers proposes that some Olmec artisans used hollowed reeds as amplification devices, tuning into hidden conversations. Consider the mainstream mystery of basalt carvings. Those sleek, polished forms were born from lava flows. Did fiery origins become tempered by water's kiss? Was this alchemy known by artists who balanced molten memories with liquid care? Experts still can't agree on how large basalt structures moved through ancient jungles, an unsolved riddle tied to their elemental dance. Each piece came alive under torrents, the rhythm dictating form. Sculptors carved with hands and ears, attuned to symphonic water. Did they see themselves as co-creators, or merely conduits for storms? The debate rages in academic circles, with some proposing that ritual was as integral as the chisel's edge. Then there's ancient lore about a rain worship ritual called Sakanashli, where the first droplets were given as offerings. Sculptors believed these blessed drops infused stone with spiritual energy. Imagine their awe when an obscure stele revealed hieroglyphs that hint at stones that speak. Superstitious whispers or encoded truth, tools themselves spoke through the water's echo. Each strike on a sculpture's surface carried resonance, tuned by rain's touch. Remember how tools were polished smooth, kissed by storms. Were they not just implements, but allies in a grander orchestration? In this dance, every splash was a beat, every puddle a note. Sculptors and storms together painted the canvas of culture, an intricate collaboration where fate itself flowed through nature's pulses. The final stroke carved not just form, but narrative, whispered by the elements. Can we hope to recapture such artistry in our sterile creations? Or do machines only mock the rain's true craftsmanship? Olmec artisans lived intertwined with cosmic rhythms. Stone and storm whispered destinies into their hands. As storms rage, so too their hands moved, crafting legacies whispered by rain's guiding pulse. What secrets rest within those stones, dozing beneath layers of earth? Rain sculpted not just sculptures, but the very essence of their spirit. Each drop, a pulse, each chisel, a heartbeat synced with nature's eternal dance, echoing through millennia. Their symphony lives on, a testament to an artistry that sang through raindrops and stone veins. Rains still whisper, sculptor's spirit lives on. You feel it in every ancient site, every stele etched with stories. Drops guide seekers to their stones, even in the modern age. A symphony of guidance spanning lifetimes. Walking through museum halls, did you ever wonder if those carvings feel the echoes of rain that birthed them? Imagine modern archaeologists with umbrellas, sifting through sediment, dreaming of storm surges that once shaped civilizations. They might joke about the irony that to understand ancient artistry, they must endure uncomfortable downpours, the curse of the Olmec waterworks. Someone quips, dripping puddles onto delicate clay shards. But beyond humor, the truth remains: ancient artisans waited for storms. Remember how the rainy season's rhythm dictated creation. They didn't merely work stone, they partnered with elements. Historians still argue whether the grandest pieces were made solely in peak monsoon times, or if dry season masters existed in quiet corners. Some modern enthusiasts claim to channel those lost techniques. They say certain stones resonate with ancient frequencies when misted, sparking debates about geoacoustic properties. Was there ancient tech nobodies dared to decode? Is it why you can almost hear whispers when water traces those grooves? And then the quirky legends persist. One tale claims certain Olmec sculptors preferred stones that first touched rain after solstice sunrise, the golden droplets hypothesis. Fringe, sure, But consider the sun's angle when it strikes ancient rock faces today. Does your imagination wander when mist dances at dawn, walking paths worn by countless feet? You remember the mountain echoes, how rain amplified stories. Today's visitors may not hear those voices, yet they still feel drawn to carvings kissed by ancient storms. Some believe certain stones hold rain memory, able to summon whispers through modern cloudbursts. Can we discount such legends when the stones remain? Stone and storm leave whispers in today's world, even as builders turn to machines. Yet does sterile precision match the soul forged in nature's symphony? When you touch a basalt carving softened by centuries of rain, can you sense fate's flow beneath your fingertips? The debate remains, were the greatest Olmec masterpieces solely rainwater kissed, or do other secrets lie dormant under layers unearthed? As drops still fall, who knows? Maybe they shape future whispers for new seekers to follow. The symphony continues, rain's cadence, an eternal guide through time's currents. Sculptors' spirits still dance in every storm's embrace, whispering stories raindrops carry through millennia. Your journey through the mist-laden paths reaches its tranquil dusk. Each raindrop traced by the fingertips of ancient sculptors now resides in history, an unbroken lineage you followed, in every stone you brushed, in every steel shadowed by modern museums. Echoes of their spirit rest gently, lulling you to serenity. As you ponder the tools of the past, chisels and ancient wisdom carried within nature's rhythm, let a profound peace embrace you. Those who once waited for storm's breath to guide their hands remain with you now, their whispers soothing, their stories timeless whispers in the night. Close your eyes, feel the cadence of the rain, a heartbeat of a civilization bound in nature's embrace. The rhythm still guides seekers beneath starlit skies and dawn's first light. In the hush of each modern downpour, hear the symphony that spans ages, the lullaby of stone and storm, ever gentle. Remember the legends, whispers, Olmec artisans tracing life from rocks kissed by golden dawn. Such tales fade into the background now, melding dream and reality in quiet moments before sleep. Trust that ancient spirits cradle the secrets, holding them safe in nature's symphony, even as time shifts around us. Your breath now slow, each inhalation, the balm of history's embrace, rain's gentle touch, a continuous lullaby, tracing patterns not just on stone, but now soothing pathways to your rest. Imagine the sun's dawn touch, a gentle kiss upon ancient carvings, as soft as dreams settling in sleep. Let go into stone-cold depths, feeling whispers still held in memory. Sleep wraps you like mist, carrying murmurs of forgotten names and eternal echoes. Rain sings you now, its cadence a bridge, linking past to your present peace, guiding you into dreams where history softly sways under a timeless sky.